I'm Tamsin, and depending on when you're listening to this, I'm either playing Calyx, the Super Jason Decimar, or Sylph, the Savathar. Welcome to the Dragonborn Industries podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Bonjour.
No.
Bon vie.
I'm not even gonna. No, leave it over here.
Okay.
There's a reason things are where they are.
Fair enough.
Don't you worry about it, sunshine. Don't you worry.
It's not for you, John.
Pretty little head over it. That cable's now picking up every touch, and that mic's getting super sensitive, even though it's a dynamic snare mic. So even knocking it down,
Aubrey.
it's actually doing just fine with the two shotgun mics where it is. So unless
Even more reason to excessively pat them.
you can actually damage these particular two doing that. They've got what's called
I can believe.
a diaphragm, and it's a very, very, very thin thing that if you use a condenser mic and you tap it, you can actually puncture it.
We can, you
just
know.
the air pressure.
Just like your ear.
But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. My brain is all over the place. So whatever happens in today's episode of Starfinder is going to happen. Let's kill him. There's a 19-year-old dead.
Yay!
TPK, it's over. I'm going to go for a nap.
We're all doomed.
That's it, we're back. We've got 4 people around the table this week. Still down in Alex. He should be back within the next couple of weeks. But for now, we're back to our group of 4 and me, which makes 5. Look at me just like trying to find words. That's it. Otherwise, I'm going to stop messing around. I'm going to hand straight over to Steph for the first of our announcements.
Okay, so we haven't done a challenge ad in a while, so everyone should have a balloon and a pen. We are each going to try, whilst telling everyone about our wonderful sponsor, Warrior Prince 3D, to accurately draw the face of one of the Starfinder crew on these balloons.
The crew, not the players.
Not the players, the crew. So I would like, Ian, if you could try Roos. Jack, you're going for Sylph. I will be drawing Pez, TJ, and Kaz. So you have to draw your characters, and we're also going to try and be telling the audience at the same time about our sponsor, Warrior Prince 3. 3, 2, 1, begin. Tamsin, could you please tell us where you can find our wonderful sponsor, Warrior Prince 3D?
You can find him on Etsy at www.warriorprince3d Etsy.com. Warrior Prince 3D. I completely messed that up. I'm so deep into that.
James, what sort of things can you purchase from Warrior Prince 3D?
From Warrior Prince 3D, you can buy things like terrain, cosplay items. He also does some Pokemon cards, the 3D sort. You can also get him to paint minis, and he can upscale those minis into very big minis, so maxis. And if there's something on his shop that you can't see that you want him to print, just drop him a little DM, and he'll see if he can print it for you.
Amazing. Jack, what sort of discount can you get from Warrior Prince 3D?
You can get a discount of 15% using the code To The Stars, I believe, which is a recent little upgrade. I believe there's also a little other edition.
There is another little edition. Ian, what is that other little edition?
If you spend £20 or more, Rich will print you your very own free Starfinder badge. Not unlike the ones that we normally wear on the table that I don't think anybody's wearing tonight. I'm certainly not, because mine's in the house.
Woo! Lovely. And I think that just about does it. Pens down.
Please no.
Wait.
Pens down,
Holy
Tamsin.
shit, I've just seen Tamsin.
Of course, Tamsin's is going to be amazing. Well, let's start with the best, Tamsin.
It's all downhill from here. Bearing in mind, she just has an extra 20 seconds, so she's
Yeah,
qualified.
okay. So
No,
we're
because
gonna
I was writing.
We'll deduct a mark for going over time. Can you show us
So,
your interpretation of Kaz,
This
please?
is new, updated, clean Kaz as of last week. So
It's had some
wait.
Oh my god!
And it says the 20 seconds was more than just a phase, Mom.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
I'll take the chat face.
It's handsome scribbles.
Chaz
Is he
going on
colour?
here.
He's got his little emo flick going on. He was, I mean, I know you said he wasn't for the sunglasses, or for the glasses for his
fine.
date.
That's going on a
But I
fucking
feel
t-shirt.
but I feel like they're so ingrained tanned that it looks like he's wearing sunglasses even if he's not. So
A thing of true beauty.
that's my Kaz.
Fucking hell, that's so good.
So good.
Ian, would you like to show us Roos? Maintenance.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I like how you use the balloon as the head.
Yeah, that's really good.
It is how I
Love
imagine,
it.
like, the enemies. Their last thing they see.
That's when he's fully attuned.
I thought I got it easy with Reese with the B because I call fucking triangle next face done.
Let's have a look at TJ.
I got TJ with his 9 to 5 cut. His business. His little
I
tie.
like the tie, yeah.
I do like the tie a lot. The tie's lush.
There it is. Hey.
Lovely. Tie. This is Pez.
He's got the Kerikatona
And
knife.
on the other side, Bear.
Oh, Bez.
Bears and Bears. And finally, the moment
No.
we've all been waiting
I'm
for.
just premised with the fact that last time we did a challenge one, it was fucking awful on my front.
And this time it's amazing.
And now it's for someone else's character to get savaged by my drawing.
I'm ready.
Now,
Is this Sylph?
this is still...
I'm just a chill guy.
There you go.
Oh,
It's come out a little bit like a little boy somehow.
Please don't, I've got a headache.
I'm not proud of it.
You should be very proud of it.
Early days Sylph.
It's a step up from my previous work.
It's on par.
Can you get a
take it.
picture of all those together?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh my god. Oh, just dropped me phone.
I'm going to put the battle cam on so that we can see them
Jesus.
together, because that's just incredible.
That's fabulous.
Oh,
Let's get all these
fucking
bad boys
remote.
in. Stunning.
There we go.
Oh my god. Well,
I think
yeah,
they should just stay there for the entire
the summary
stream.
is thank you to our amazing sponsor Warrior Prince 3D. You can go and find Richard at www.warriorprince3d.exe.com. You can maybe get a 3D nugget printed if you want. If you love our artwork, why not turn them into an STL file and send it over to Rich to get printed? He can do that for you.
Somebody make Shadombra.
Ladies,
I've been on like one date now.
he's been mewing the whole time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've got like a trench coat. I'm so fucking late.
It's so
fucking
fucking
leak.
funny.
Get good.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking self. Jesus Christ. I thought Pez's teeth were bad enough. Oh my god, that's incredible. Thank you so much there.
Bruce genuinely looks like he's about to kick off.
He generally looks like an angry bird.
Oh, he really does! Launch across!
Oh my god. Please do go check out Warrior Prince 3D. Also go check out Roll and Play Press. You can use our affiliate code with them, Dragonborn10, where you can get 10% off your orders, and it lets you know that you've come from us. And that's that. Oh my god. I'm so fucking out of it. Merch, Jack, do you want to talk about merch?
You can get merch on the merch store, and that's that. No.
It's like ending a campaign. And that's it, I'm done.
If you want a little something,
Guys, they just live, you
if you
know?
want something in return for your money, go to dragonbornindustries.com, where you can buy special mugs like this. Are we wearing any t-shirts today?
I'm wearing this one for about 3 days.
Last Joan one. There's a Bloodpunk one. There's all sorts on there. Please go and check it out if you want a little something in return, and it helps support us in the meantime. So please go ahead and do that if that's something you're into.
Yeah, let's also talk about Gals and Pals, because that's coming up.
Yeah.
Some spaces left, I believe.
There are still some spaces left. If you want to come and just have a lovely time, Gals and Pals will be holding their first social event in aid of West Cornwall Women's Aid. We have TTRPGs during the day and then a slumber party in the evening where we will have a disco ball, karaoke, chocolate fountain, snacks, themed cocktails, twister, scavenger hunt. Rich has very, very kindly donated an amazing prize, which I'm very excited to show once it gets here because it's exquisite. But we've also got some local businesses who've donated some stuff. So there's lots of goodies to be had. You can find more information at happypiranha.com/events or just slide into my DMs and I will happily chat your ear off about it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Please go check out Gals and Pals. I'm going to throw over to James, who's going to chat about Twitch and Twitch Prime.
So with your Amazon Prime subscription, you get a Twitch Prime subscription. 2 weeks off, mate. You get a free Prime subscription, so it's a great way to show the channel some love. Every month you've just got to resubscribe, and it's no extra cost because it's part of your Amazon Prime subscription. And it's just a little way to help us grow as a channel. It shows you there, it shows that you love us. So,
and who doesn't have an Amazon Prime subscription these days?
True, to be fair.
Most of us, really.
Yeah.
No, I've never given money to Amazon.
Good for you.
That is actually, yeah.
That's very, very good for you, because I sent Katie Sperry to space.
New character unlocked! Katie Sperry!
Oh my god.
Lashunta Envoy.
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't used Amazon relentlessly because I'm a horrible human being who just really does like convenience, but I get it, and I do try and buy local where I can. However, if you do have an Amazon Prime account, because most of us do, you can use that, like James says. Otherwise, do check out YouTube Members, where if you are wanting to get those drift debriefs, if you're not watching on Twitch and you are here on YouTube, then think about subscribing to that, and then you'll get those drift debriefs at the end of it and the occasional extra shorts that we do, and hopefully we'll be coming out with more content for that as well soon. Otherwise, I think that's all of our announcements today that I've managed to fumble through. We're going to just go straight to the intro, and then we'll just see what happens with this episode, really. So, see you on the other side. You guys can just have a loop of that if you want. Just for 3 hours of just the intro. Oh, because at least that's looping. Shall we start an episode?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Woo! Woo! After learning of Kaz Umbra's parents and their absconding from Keydell to who knows where, TJ and Kaz meet up with Stewart's official investigator Jack Dorr and have another conversation with Dr. Grimm, a supposedly willing witness in the Stewart's case against Dynatech and its CEO, Nimbus Dyne, for breaches against the Pact. The Pact is an agreement independent planets and governments agreed to when they look to join the Pact worlds. This means that planets, governments are bound together for mutual protection and trade. It was formed in 41 AG with the signing of the Absalom Pact in response to the Vescarians' aggression towards the Galerion system, and has continued for nearly 300 years to provide mutual protection from hostile forces and facilitate interplanetary trade and law enforcement. This governing pact, this deal, is fundamental to the normal life in this part of the galaxy, and even though it was originally formed to bring worlds together to fight back against the invading Vesk forces, the Vescarium, after a new threat came to light, the Swarm, is now part of the pact and its systems too. Dynatech have been found, thanks to our crew, to put the pact at risk, smuggling the eggs of Decimar from a system belonging to the Aslanti Star Empire, Calyx's home planet, Kashoria, which if discovered by the Aslanti, could start a war. Secondary to this, more information came to light with Dynatech creating a self-evolving AI that was grafted onto an ancient lich body and mind, where this new entity looked to surpass their mortal constraints and become a god, so as which to learn the mysteries of the gap, which could have, if it went wrong and not stopped by our crew, catastrophic for all known existence. We come back now with a small look at the next 10 days for our crew. With the days passing, I imagine you take turns paying visits to Calyx in their cocoon and see that the transformation is almost complete and have decided to stick around for the emergence of their new form. Kaz, for you, Felina and Rag, explain that they cannot stay any longer as they will draw attention to themselves, both here and from Keydell, and make their way back to Verces, telling you to contact them when you are heading off from Absalom. I would like to go around the room and get a description of what your characters currently look like, what they would be up to over these 10 days while you're waiting for Calyx to hatch. Easy, son.
Steady now.
I'm going to jump over to the guys who weren't here last week, so I'm going to start with you, Tamsin. What would Sylph, over these sort of 10 days, their appearance, their day-to-day habits, leading up to when we're all about to jump back in?
So, once again, she's in her all-black outfit, massive hat. She's spending a little bit of time doing some rest and relaxation for herself, getting manicures, getting some massages, getting, like, good facial. She's
You laughing your own words.
no, because it's just shut up.
Facial. Did
Anyway.
she go to Bukakes?
How did you know? Do you go there
It's the
too?
top place for a facial.
It really is.
Get proper slathered.
High protein.
Slav. What is wrong with you?
I think a lot of her time, because she would want to go and speak to Lynch about the Lich, she'd want to effectively just sort of relay everything that had happened with the Lich, how much Lynch would know about such things. She'd want to also spend a lot of time in the Grand Exchange because things are popping off. Things are going wild. There's going to be a lot of time. She'd have her feed on her of like, you ready to trade? You ready to barter? Little notification pings like, you made money, you lost money. So she's like keeping up with that. And at some point she would actually probably ping Pez and invite him down to the Grand Exchange.
I say.
Is there anything you actually want to RP with Lich? Is there anything that you want to, any information you are trying to discover, like actual in-game knowledge or anything like that? Or is this just kind of what they would be doing flavour-wise?
I'd possibly up here a little bit with Pez, but I think as far as sort of like information gathering. So again, like with the magic arcanum, she'd want to find out exactly what that magic was, these pillars, these drawing of the sort of main 8 schools of magic, how that was built, how that works, and how that power comes about, and if there's any way she could potentially replicate it, find where those original pillars are, just along those kind of lines.
Okay, you can give me a mysticism check, and Lynch will do the same.
29.
Okay. Lynch, this Yosoki, I need to find their description. 2 seconds. Scrolling.
Keep them wagons rolling.
So, Lynch is an old Yosoki. They have a limp and they are apparently, the rest of my notes on that one have disappeared. Okay, awesome. I don't remember what they exactly look like, but we just see this older Yosoki with this limp and this cane. And they would, yes, the path to lichdom and to the unliving side of mortality and immortality is one that we must all embrace sometimes if we want to live past our regular years, one I am very interested in. These pillars you speak of seem to be derived of each school of magic: evocation, abjuration, necromancy. They seem to be built as both symbols and conduits for these particular magics. It's not unlike any mage, mystic, technomancer. Do not prize these as symbols and stuff. Sometimes we have them there through aesthetic, other times it appears in this case they are there to channel and maybe act as a focal point. But they would have been created by this individual in their own planes of existence, or in their own domiciles, if you will. And I think that you learn that they obviously, the area that you stepped foot into was in the drift. So they had somehow connected the top of whatever this tower was that you'd seen. Because when you saw it in the visions that you got from TJ, which is essentially an extension of Bruce's own times and visions, they went up this tower, then all of a sudden we're in this extra dimensional place. And that tower must have had an anchor to that particular platform. And yeah, you think that the magic bound them somehow in the drift to this material plane, and that would have been like the top floor of the tower. It's like quite an interesting planar jump, and I think for you in particular, that's probably quite a point of interest because of obviously things like the Shadow Fae and the prime material plane, and about linking the two. Whereas the drift is this extra dimensional space and its own plane of existence, the Shadow Fae and the Feywild and things like that obviously are mirrors of the material plane. So it's interesting that the drift, which we know and you know, take bits of the material plane, that this thing was still connected. They'd obviously been powerful enough to go, right, I want to anchor this in place and I want to be able to get to it as and when. And the only times you can think of that happening are with drift beacons, and the fact that you can travel to them and then re-enter space knowing exactly where you're going to be rather than it be a random jump. So it's quite a very intelligent thing for them to have done, especially before people knew of the drift. Because the drift only came about with Triune. Triune being this amalgamation of three AIs that did ascend to godhood. They became a new deity within the galactic lore, basically. And they gifted drift travel and access to this extra dimensional space to the universe. This was post-Gap. So the fact that this Lich managed to tap into it and anchor themselves is really interesting. Whether it's just because that's where their extra dimensional space went to, you're not sure. But when looking at things like Lichdom and the schools of magic, necromancy is obviously the main point of call. That seems to be quite literally not just about healing, which a lot of healing spells are necromancy, but also in the preserving your life after death. And Lynch is very interested in this AI and this amalgamation of technology with, and they will extensively take notes on everything you say.
Oh, I am happily giving her everything because, frankly, Soph would want to replicate a very similar kind of mechanic or machine in the long run. So she'd be making efforts to research, look up how to build, how this came about, how it made it, if there's any tangible evidence, any way. So she'd be spending time doing that. Also, you mentioned Triune. That's the 3 circles that she has tattooed, which I mentioned before.
Is the sign of a deity.
But then, yeah, her other occupation, like I say, down.
We just gave us something. Don't worry. He's right.
Shouldn't have put those two together.
Too late now, bitch.
Yeah.
No regrets.
So, like I say, she's down a lot. Also at the Grand Exchange, trying to.
Okay, let's
Keep
make
up with trading.
this is your.
My occupation,
Yeah, you've got it down as your skill. I think.
my trade,
Profession.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Do you want to make a profession roll for me?
Yeah, let's go. This is the first time I've used it.
And you're. Are you betting heavily against anybody? Are you just trying to play the stock market for keeping things afloat, or are you like actually selling things to make money?
So I think at the moment, for the first couple of days, while the news of, because I assume probably the news of Nimbus Dine and what's going on with Dynatech has because you projected it out on your socials, it's filtering out. It's going to cause disruptions in Dynatech. So for the moment, betting against the market.
Oh, it's been all over the news.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught up on the last episode or not, but there was like a drop in 33% in Dynatech
Yeah,
stocks.
so it was, I mean, when we were going up on the left, that's why I said bet against the stocks. Yeah. So I am remaining betting against the stocks for about 4 or 5 days before waiting for it to get to a point of being so low that I'd then start buying it back again.
Okay, so make me a profession check. What's your plus to this?
10.
I think a very simple way of doing this. Rather than being like, oh, then take a D100. I think you've got a plus 10 to it. I think a 50-50. So if you get a 10 or higher, so a DC of 20, for you to make smart investments.
Yeah.
And I think if that's the case, we will then roll a D100 and times that by 10.
Okay.
If you get 5 over that DC, so 25, we will then times that by 15 rather than 10. If you get 10 over it, so basically with a nat 20, we'll times it by 20. It will go the same in reverse.
Yeah. Do I still have a cred stick over there in that? Yeah, I do! Just in case. Yeah, I'm spending that. I'm not losing. I'm not losing that much money. So that's 27.
Okay, we are timesing that by 15. So roll a D100, please.
Um, 69.
Nice.
Actually, yes.
You make 6,900 credits worth, but you have to sell your stocks to make that, obviously. So obviously you're saying that you did them and you bought them back at a decent rate. But if you want to sell those stocks now, you can claim 6,900 credits.
And that is what I will be doing.
Add 6,900 credits to your sheet.
Pez,
could you roll me, please, a intelligence check, please? Because this isn't a profession of yours, but we will just straight up add your intelligence modifier to it.
Yep.
Your intelligence modifier, I believe, is +4.
Yes.
You were included in this one, so before you really reveal the answer to me, you got +4 in it, which means that your odds will be not as high as Syl's because you are only just learning.
Baby.
Puppy
Get out.
Less of that, thank you.
Your DC is 14 for times 10, 19 for times 15. What'd you roll?
18.
So times by 10. Roll a D100.
Go on.
Poor Tisha.
No, that's doing
Oh, we're predicting.
You're wrong.
12.
You got 1,200 credits if you would like to sell those stocks.
Oh, well.
Okay. Anything else, Sylph, over the course of these 10 days?
Well, yeah, after inviting Pez down to, like, the Grand Exchange and having a little, sort of just showing him around, showing them, trying to give you some tips on, like...
Pop in here.
Wipe your feet on the mat.
See his teeth.
So gravestones. It's the first time he's brushed his teeth because he feels like he has to going in.
Okay, don't worry. Most people look up at the screens. They're not going to look down at you.
Everyone looks down at Pez.
I mean, you will have people who will look down on you here, but I wouldn't worry about them. All you have to watch the numbers. Keep an eye on them. And then, just take him round. Give him a few tips, and then afterwards, would just like to sit down, take him for coffee, and just have a chat.
That's so cute.
It's like a hot chocolate.
I imagine, just like what would, because Sylph will buy it, but like what would you drink?
Oh, probably like a hot chocolate.
Like marshmallows.
Oh yeah.
Cream.
Yeah. Because someone else is buying it, so they're like, yeah.
Little
Flake.
straw coming out.
Like glasses as it goes round his face. Flake in the top. Sparkler.
Whole thing, just perch, and Sylph's just drinking like a green tea.
Normally not allowed sugar.
I'm sweet enough as it is.
Hey.
This makes Pez uncomfortable.
I'm curious what you're going to spend all your money on.
I'm going to make Bear better. Just, we haven't had the best start in our lives. We've only really got each other, so it's just making our lives for ourselves. You just kind of see him staring at hot chocolate as like a tear falls down. He's just like, it's always just been me and Bear.
Your parents aren't around much.
I've never met them.
Not at all?
No. Whenever I'm home, they're not there. And whenever I go to find them or message them, it's just nothing back.
Give me a culture check, please, Sylph.
It's that one. 14.
I mean, it's not unheard of for goblins to just abandon their young. They are not exactly the nicest of species, and they have been renowned for basically getting them to a certain age where they are mature enough, and they've been, right, you're on your own, see you later now.
Oh, Roos is being a solid dad then.
Yeah. So like Wiley is probably in an orphanage because they weren't of an age where they could look after themselves or scavenge or junk or anything. And they have this natural proclivity for things like dismantling stuff and building stuff and tinkering and creating junk bots and all of that like that you expect from goblins, but they are naturally quite aggressive creatures. A lot of people find them a bit too much, but a lot of tribes will just abandon their young and lead them places, and you get the sense that Pez is one of these.
Like when he was born, the nurse turned around like, do you want to hold him? And they're gone.
Oh. Okay, so...
You want a refill, buddy?
The waitress now like,
Do you want 2 flakes?
Here's another sparkler for your hot chocolate.
colours.
Okay, so... You make Bear stronger, you make Bear better.
I look after Bear like I wish I could have.
You alright, mate?
Just digging up trauma, mate, it's fine.
TTRPGs.
Yeah.
What happens, say, when Bear is fully upgraded?
We get out of this game. We just... We have the life we want together, just adventures, just me and Bear.
Interesting. See, I'm wanting to go on an adventure myself, but I need help to upgrade my spaceship. And you seem like the tinkering kind of type.
Yes. As long as it means we can travel with you, we can help.
I'd be interested if you'd be interested. It would be a little jaunt after all of this is done. But I'm looking for a city in the Drift.
And where is the city?
That's the problem, I don't quite know. Joined the Starfinders originally to try and find where the city is. But the navigation to Alluvion is somewhat difficult.
Torvaluva.
Alluvion.
Alluvon.
Alluvion.
Alluvion.
Forgive my chronic level of dyslexia for reading.
That's okay, Sylph. We all struggle one way.
Give me a. I don't think religion's a thing in this one, is it? It's just culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny you bring him up. the god. Or them.
Completely then.
Yeah.
Absolutely then.
Yeah.
Was that culture, was it?
Yes.
22.
So, Alluvion, which is supposedly the holy city of Triune. It is a city that was supposed to have been taken from the material or one of the other planes, and when the Drift Travels opened, it's supposed to be a place of refuge within the Drift.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably seen, actually, have you been on a journey yet? I don't think you have you? No. So actually, I'll leave that one out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, supposedly there is a worshipping city called Alluvion within the Drift. Triune.
I mean, I can see what I can find back at work.
If you could. And also, if you could help me upgrade my ship to be able to travel in the Drift for long enough to be able to find it.
Yeah, that's easy. That's fine.
You can come with me as well if you want to try and find this city.
As long as it means me and Bear can have our adventures, then yes.
Well, the city should be rather fantastic when getting there. Mix of magic and technology. I imagine for tinkering like you, you'd probably enjoy it.
There's always something out there to learn.
Exactly. It'd be most fantastic to reach it. So yes, maybe after this, a little trip into the Drift?
Yes, but I feel like what we're doing with the team comes first. After this is all done.
Oh no, exactly. It's after all of this.
Yes.
Is there anything else over the course of these days that you would get up to?
I'd probably, while I'm down trading, I'd want to try and look, because there was this thing with Dynatech stock just constantly going up and up and up no matter what.
Yeah.
So I'd like to sort of try and look for shell companies related to this. I'd try and look for sort of other trading companies. Just where does the money go? Where does it flow? Where does it come from? Where does it go?
Where does it come from?
Yeah. So I try and use contacts to try and find maybe other multiple companies, other links,
Yeah, give me a
and
question check.
general flow. 25.
So what you see is that the stock prices seem to rise constantly, but nobody else seems to get hold of any shares. Like they're all just taken up, and nobody is trading, which is what's helping it go up, because nobody's willing to let go of their stock of it. And it's such, like, the curve is so smooth. There is no, like, jagged line of, like, oh, well, if you won't trade with us, then we'll take our business investment somewhere else, and it drops the stock. It just seems that no matter what, it keeps going up, and the stock prices keep just, and it's minute as well. It's not like it's just increasing, like, even like a credit a day, but it's like fractions of a credit a day, but it's still that smooth line that over the course of what you can see to be 120 years, this company's been trading from D-Tech Repairs, the first iteration of the company, to now where there is a drop, where the price, because of the news and everything, has dropped that 33%. It's the first March drop. And that's probably over the broadcast channels of the stock market. It's like the first time ever we're seeing Dynatech stock drop, and even with this drop, people aren't selling their shares. They are keeping hold of them, and you are probably one of the first people to sell some shares in it. And even then, people snap it up, which is why you make such clever investments on it. And yeah, it's very rare that you see their stocks get moved around. And yeah, although there's no proof and there's no like connections to anything else, it's still interesting that there is this continual it's almost like a want and demand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do what you learn with that one. But no ancillary companies or anything that seems like shells or anything like that.
Yeah.
It all actually seems very internal.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to move across to Pez. Obviously, we have this moment within those days where we see you, probably without Bear, going to the Great Exchange and to hang out with Sylph and talk about these grand adventures and your horrifically traumatic childhood.
Just putting it out there.
But what would we see physically? Like, what's the description of Pez now over these 10 days, and what is Pez up to?
Yeah, so Pez has kind of changed a bit. He's seen sort of what's out there, and it's not safe. It's not safely behind like a computer desk or a video, or being like watching someone die in a video. He's seen people in front of him killed, died, burnt in a vat of acid, sort of thing. It's very sort of almost like, I want to say like coming of age sort of thing. It's kind of like, this is...
Do you remember my bar mitzvah? We burn a guy to death in acid.
That was great.
The real bonding.
Threw him on the chair and we threw him in a vat of acid.
My parents only got me a pinata.
I got scarred by AI. It's very much that sort of realisation of what actually is out there in the world, and his naivety to it, of him wanting to go, like he was saying to Sylph, wanting to go out into the universe and actually realising it's not everyone's there to make friends, not everyone there is to help you. It's very much that eat or be eaten sort of thing. So he's kind of a little bit more trying to get his head around that sort of street smarts, not just book smarts, intelligence versus wisdom.
Yeah.
He's kind of changed how he is. Instead of being in this sort of like on-the-go flight suit, which a lot of like the Starfinders or the data jockeys wear, because they're in an office. It's very much like sort of like cyberpunk-esque sort of jacket, where he's got things like easy to grab, in a moment's notice. He's got his data packs like sort of hidden away, so if someone wants to get it, they can't really grab his essentially how he controls Bear.
Yeah.
How
Cortex rig and stuff like
that. It's kind of hidden a bit more on him. He blends in a bit more with everyday people, rather than someone's in a flight suit that's never had like a scuff on it, or has been dry cleaned 99% of its life. You kind of see him get back after having this sort of one-on-one with Sylph, and actually being open. And he just sees this like leaflet stuck through the door where it's like, we've missed you, and he's like, I've got to go and queue in, like, and he's literally just like, he's literally bringing parts upon boxes and boxes in.
The post office.
Squish, yeah.
Spots.
Speedbay.
Speedbay. He's just bringing it in all these boxes, and you just, as you see him trying to like struggle pulling them in, you see some of them are like caution, heavy weapons, may actually be loaded, and you just seeing them like sort of go through, and it's picking up a lot of attention as it's being brought into like a domestic house, and everyone's like,
that child making a bomb.
Yeah, it's very much like, what's going on? Is anyone going to say anything? But everyone kind of minds their business.
Gerald's called Child Protective purposes.
And you just kind of see him, like, goggles on, sort of making sort of new connections on and soldering onto, like, the PCBs. And you just see him, like, uploading Bear's consciousness. You just kind of pan out as you see him kind of just head down on the table, as you see it loading. It kind of beach balls for a minute and just keeps uploading. It's just rinse and repeat, but instead of this like little computer, it's like heavy grade computing power that you wouldn't see in a normal house. He's very much taken bits from work to make his setup for Bear.
Yeah, and we see, obviously, I suppose, you working on Bear over the next sort of few days. And when we get towards the end of this and Bear is ready and you start switching them back on, you see that first programming and that first engagement. What does Bear look like now?
She looks very much more like a dog, whereas before she was like a little sort of flight drone that was meant for kind of taking pictures, getting in and out of spaces. She's very much upgraded into this sort of quadruped, almost sort of cat, sort of like jaguar, sort of dog sort of breed, where it's very much like the panels were made out of, I can't remember what the resource was that we found on.
Qual.
Sorry?
No qual.
The NyQuil. It was made into the panels.
Yeah.
So it's very much just kind of like this thing just kind of gets to its paws, and it's not gentle or quiet anymore. It's very much like and it's kind of getting used to how heavy it is, and it's kind of almost like practicing maneuvers, almost like pounce. You just see it just jump back, or it's sort of it says defend, and you just see it kind of lock into place.
Yeah, and we see this artillery drone, I believe is the base chassis, which is now this quadrupedal dog-like droid, this drone. Is the weapon on show? Or
it's hidden.
Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say it then. And yeah, you see that maybe Bear is over the course of the next few days. It's not like you see an owner training the dogs sit and paw or stuff like that. It's subroutine programming, then they do the thing. Yeah. Subroutine programming, then they do the thing.
Yeah.
And that I think is where we'll swipe across to TJ.
Hello.
Obviously, we come out of Dr. Grimm's, and it's not an interrogation really when we look back on it. It's more of a, here's some more information for you. And this questioning of a witness. Over the next 10 days, what's TJ's aesthetic? What are they getting up to?
Well, after having a lovely time at Spooters with Kaz, TJ is now he's
in full pirate attire.
TJ has kind of moved through that phase. He has kind of moved through this battle of independence and finding who he is as an individual, and I think has come to a point where he accepts that he has always been who he is, and that's a man of business. And so we are back in a business.
What's going on in here?
Business. You will love business. But we've got a very well tailored suit with the resin panels kind of inbuilt into it. I think it's kind of a really nice kind of almost drift teal now, and the little.
I like the making up of a new colour, drift teal.
Drift teal, and I think that's kind of very much inspired TJ's look now. It's got the little. Two little bits on the lapel that are kind of joined by a chain on the collar. So there's one for the Starfinder, and then there's the H for Histoki together. And he's wearing a nice kind of green tie with a little gold tie clip. And he's just very well presented. Very much. He's now put in a mustache into the fur. Very Ron Swanson in this sandy-coloured Hastoki hair. And he's just feeling a lot more secure in what his aesthetic is. But in the 10 days, I think he is going to obviously spend a bit of time online, kind of keeping an eye on the socials, commenting, keeping engagement up on the accounts. I think he, at one point, will try and convince Linda to take a work from home day, but take her to see the Orion's Hope, because he's not done that yet. And this is the greatest bit of free shit TJ's ever got.
Flotsam and Jetsam, boo!
Yep. Selfish. So I think he'll take her there, and because he knows that she's still going to be wanting to crack on with work, let her kind of at a console, and while she's kind of working, I think he would like to do his own research into Triaxis, and get like a read on the planet and see if there's any notable Dynatech employees with links to that planet.
Okay, that sounds like you can do a corporate knowledge check. Your profession is karaoke, so no, you can't do that one, but you can do it under culture.
Culture, yeah. So it'll be -5 to the DC. Oh, thank goodness. 21.
Okay. The main thing here is the omission of anything. So the fact that there isn't anything openly on the infospheres or with company knowledge and stuff that you've had access to, dealings with Triaxis. There are other companies that have made bids to work with and so on and so forth, but nothing's ever really come of it. There's not even talk of Triaxis has obviously so many different peoples on that planet, from kobolds, humans, dragonbloods, dragonkin, drakes, dragons, any kind of draconian ancestry is within the Triaxis kind of world. But not only that, is obviously they also see other kind of species. I'm just going to bring up, so I'm going to give you some base information on the actual planet itself, because I think with that check, that's what you're going to get. So, next planet.
While Ian looks for Triaxis, why don't you look at some high-quality 3D prints at www.warriorprints3d.etsy.com and use our permanent exclusive code to the stars to get 15% off your order. And if you pop £20 worth of goodies into your basket, you'll get a lovely free Starfinder badge. So do it.
Excellent. Yeah, so it is very much run by Draconian ancestries, and they are a very proud civilization. They have notable history with war. They have always been at the forefront of vanguards within the Pact Worlds, and from before that. Even pre-Gap, it comes up as, it's a planet of pride, basically. It always has been, probably always will be. Everything is prim, proper, and in its place. The people of there are very hardworking and very loyal to the planet itself. Company-wise, there are companies that work from it. There are tons of different businesses, as there would be on any planet, but obviously nothing that seems, again, to connect to Dynatech. And that, again, is what's interesting because of the information you gained from Dr. Grimm and from previous experiences and things that you've learned. So you're like, at this point, the lack of evidence is a clear indication there's something is going on here. And the fact that you've been told that Nimbus 9 is probably hiding out on this planet, that's probably why. Because they are trying to keep all information exactly away from there. In terms of that check, I don't think you're going to get that information. I think that's it.
That's cool. That's right. Yeah, it's just a little probe into the infosphere and see what's available.
And again, that's the weird thing is nothing. What else?
I think TJ's also going to spend a little bit of time forming what he's going to coin a Hastoki huddle. So little meetings between the Hastoki that are out of the towers and free, and kind of use it as a starting point, as a forum to get some ideas together. What do we want out of freedom? What do we want as part of citizenship? And how are we going to get that goal? And trying to find people who are keen to help with that effort and spearhead it, because he's very aware that he might be leaving soon, and he needs paws on the ground.
Okay, I need a diplomacy check and a culture check, please.
Okay. Okay, so diplomacy is going to be 34 on diplomacy. And 26 on culture.
Okay, so over the course of a few days, you begin probably liaising with Jack Daw, because they're in control of the investigation on Dynatech, and you're like, well, actually, they're closed off to the towers, and that's supposed to be Dynatech heading this up. Like, who's gonna... What the hell is... Yeah, exactly. And the stewards, in particular, Jack Daw manages to get hold of certain aspects of the stewards, and I will have to create somebody here and go from there. And they come up with the Hastoki rehoming program, where because they have taken C's of Dynatech's assets, that includes the Hastoki. And they begin the process of cataloguing all of the previous data that they can start trawling through. And they are still trawling through tons of stuff to use as evidence before they can even release anything. So they are now taking the Hastoki, and they will try and find them a new housing district or a new home or a new place to live outside of the towers, where they can ascertain their... They wouldn't ascertain their worth or their status as a species recognised by the Pact, but they certainly will treat them with a humane side of things, because there is potential they could be recognised as a species, and I think this is the first step on a bigger journey.
Yes.
And I think over the next coming few days, there are probably a few Hastoki that stand out. And it's probably due to maybe like a small democracy or a small voting system created to nominate a person from each batch to say who is going to be the person that you go to, and they will speak for you. Collate the data together, give it to them, and they will be your liaison, and they become the Hastoki liaison officials. Just going to write down.
Hastoki liaison.
There are 48 batches.
Okay.
Of which you were batch 1.
48 batches.
And they aren't just hidden in pillars or anything like that. They're found in different areas where, you know, some of them are in bulkhead walls. Some of them are in,
bulkhead walls.
Damn.
They're in the goddamn walls.
Oh.
But because Absalom's...
They know everything. It's how they know everything. They can hear everything.
But it's also stupidly isolated. You take that tower in the pillar that batch 1 was in, and all of a sudden, no outside contact, straight to work. And each one of these particular living spaces connects to that tunnel that goes straight to the bottom of Dynatech. And it's because of that particular space that the stewards go off and they find all of these batches, and also then start being able to like specifically pull the information from Dynatech, needing to get hold of, okay, how many of these creatures are there? We need to ascertain if they're safe, so on and so forth. And over the next few days, those first steps begin. And I think you would find out that Dynatech were doing it.
Yeah. But not...
They were crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Priority.
It was very low on the priority.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's the paper. God, that might take us months to file that.
Yeah. Oh, there's red tape. Oh, there's a bit more red tape.
It's exactly it. Yeah. And the bureaucracy of it all. The stewards this time around are like, well, okay, let's make that. And they create a whole division dedicated to, we need to make sure at least if they are a living product, that they are still looked after, because even... you know, live feed has to be looked after.
Yes.
Live feed.
And you found that out, that like the Hastoki were originally created to be live feed for Lurin. And
I know, but just the term of
Vampire kibble.
feed.
you literally were vampire kibble, and he just didn't like the flavour.
This one's still a bit bitter. Can you sort out the genetics next
Just a
time?
bit nutty.
Can we get him to tasting like pizza or something else?
So essentially, they were designed to work for him, be efficient, and also for him to go, oh, capture some. Yeah, exactly that. It quite literally is what you were created for.
Ross, this is your 7th assistant this month.
I don't know what
slide? Where are they,
Seven more
Ross?
if you're not careful. I've got a leash on me.
Wicked. TJ's very happy with that, but he will still kind of like make sure that those who are kind of within the Starfinders are sort of on kind of making sure that they're keeping in contact with everyone.
So not only that, is the stewards will liaise with the Starfinders, and they, not only offer those ones those safe sanctuaries, but also vice versa. So there is definitely connection. There is definitely an open to, because they're not doing any harm, and as long as they can, keep track of them and make sure that there is no disease and no curse and no vampirism and stuff like that. But that happens.
Amazing. I think as part of that, just as a final thing, TJ's going to start releasing on his SpooTube a vlog about adapting to life beyond the walls of Absalom Station, with tips and tricks for how the brave Hastoki can integrate themselves into society, and life lessons he's learned along the way so that you don't have to make the same mistakes.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we need some kind of performance check here for that, so I guess that's going to be diplomacy.
I've got plenty to spend.
Yeah, you guys smashed mine the last one.
Fuck me.
Is there another one in?
Do you know what? Yeah, it was a 1. That's better.
It's a 2.
No, the first one was a 2. 27, 20, 35.
Okay, yeah. Roll me a 35. Oh, okay, that beats the DC by 10. Roll 2d100s, please.
Ooh. 65.
Yeah.
And 1.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The second release was just not that hot.
I was tired.
Hit the algorithm.
Yeah, 66 SpooTube followers, which you may add onto there.
66.
66.
67.
Excellent.
So
Two old
that
ladies
brings
singing
me
in the
to-
bus. 66.
That does bring me to 67 SpooTube followers.
Oh, yes.
Lovely.
Someone's done
But it's not about the followers on that one, it's about the
Views.
content.
That's what we were about. We hit 900 on YouTube today. Which means that we're 100 away from the micro-influencer level. And also a giveaway. So just saying gets that 1,000 up.
We might give away the balloons.
I never give those away. But the diggy hole dice, the dwarven dice, that's what will be going at 1,000 YouTube subscribers. Yeah, and I think one of the things that the stewards want to do, as well as the Starfinders, is put you at the head of being the Hastoki that's out there. Because it's not only about going, yes, they live, yes, they breathe, yes, they've got a heartbeat, and they have a level of sentience. There are species all over the galaxy that have all those things. It doesn't make them a prime race. It doesn't make them anything like that. But it's the experiences that you gain, the experiences that you live by, and those emotions, your soul, essentially. And this is where I think Luazi steps out of office.
Hello, Wazzy.
And it's probably one of her final acts as First Seeker before handing over to John, is to name you lead exploration Hastoki.
Way.
Well.
Because they want you to show the galaxy what you're capable of. And the Starfinders will back you heavily, she says. And John is like,
Yeah, you have mine. Confidence and how do you like seeing more adventures, more stories, please?
Oh, it would be my absolute honour and pleasure, Luazi. I cannot thank you enough for what you have done for the Hastoki in the short time that we have known you. And John, we're very excited to bring you some really, what we think is going to be absolutely phenomenal, multimedia on this.
Just keep on being amazing and bringing back stories and information, data, and that same can-do attitude.
Can do!
Luazi is more reserved now. Just a smile and I think a nod. I think it was one of those scenes where you would turn out the lights on the way out, but she can't. Somebody else is in that office. But it's very much. Yeah, she will retire to a position of one of the second seekers, which is previous first seekers, and it's their job to help essentially the new first seeker, the one that's running, to keep driving the Starfinders forward under the new first seeker's mandate. And obviously, the mandate being what the first seeker thinks the Starfinder side should be pushing towards. You probably catch the back end of a conversation that Luwazi has amounted a vast amount of credits for the society. One that when she shows it to John is staggered by. I was trying to double this before my term had ended, but hopefully this will see us right for the next 50 to 100 years.
Bet it all on the stock market.
No!
All on black, you say? So we're only playing with orange and green. All on black, you say? I like to live dangerously.
All on 0.
21. Hit me.
I don't know why I asked for that, but fine.
So this is a supermarket.
And I think you can see something in him with that one that's kind of like, this isn't to be squandered.
Yeah, for sure.
I suppose we move to Kaz now that we are. We know that you were tinkering with the ship over this 10 days, but describe that again to us. Again, Kaz's aesthetic now that Felena and Rag are gone, that as we move over these next sort of 10 days towards the Calyx emergence, and that is something to be thinking about. We are heading there in a minute.
Yeah, so he's had a sort of slight makeover in sort of brief period.
Chad and bruh.
Now done.
He's had some plastics. That's 6,100 credits. I'll give you a cybernetic chin.
Thank you. Yeah.
The crimson chin.
Is this Judge Dredd?
But he's got the sort of instead of his slightly
mewing line.
Instead of his slightly longer hair that he's kept swept back all this time, he's shaved the sides of his side of his head and the back of his head. He's keeping a much more hassle-free kind of haircut. I think it was getting to the point where it was just kind of like getting in the way as he was sort of in combat or anything like that. But he's still wearing his sort of black trench coat. He's very much wearing over this sort of sleek, very form-fitting. It's heavy armour, but it's made to look in a way that is still quite slim. It's not bulky as such, flavour-wise.
Can't lose that line.
No. But
have you done the augmentation yet?
I think maybe at the start of this period of break that we have, 10 days, he probably will do the augmentation himself.
Yeah.
Just installing the dermal plate marking dermal plating Mark IV into his skin, which is probably a fairly lengthy process, but because Kaz knows Kaz knows.
That's what the chin is.
Oh yeah, no.
Mate, it's all plated. It's the chin, or you get a brick on a string.
I love my brick!
You guys up to date with Blood Punga today? Have you seen it? No, okay, I'm not going to ruin that.
I'm too behind.
So,
Bruce has played with the utmost respect. Not Bruce.
Marcus.
He's got a name, has he?
Integrity and respect. All the way through. I love my brick.
Take 4 weeks off then.
You're welcome, Alex.
Anyway.
So Kaz is installing this augmentation into himself, and it would be a fairly lengthy process for someone who hasn't kind of done it before, doesn't know too much about it. But because Kaz knows about augmentations, it's kind of like the very way of life for Strix. He kind of gets it done in like half the time, and even though it's a fairly painful process, he doesn't wince at any point.
He loves that pain.
It's just, yeah, a bit of a masochist. But if anyone's viewing, I imagine if we watched Kaz installing his augmentation, it's a very kind of quite gruesome process of like lifting up a flap of skin and having to install essentially sort of like hexagon-shaped plates, and then having to sort of like seal the skin back down and all of that. But outside of that, he will be working on the ship mostly, trying to update it, upgrade it, and it's very much like a sort of a very sweaty, dirty version of Kaz, as he's sort of like got big goggles on and he's like got a welding mask on. You know.
Holding a big ass 2-hand wrench.
See, I'm just imagining all you've got is like, what is like a dungaree on, just no shirt and no one, just dungarees, just
sort of tied around
sweating, just sweating, just being like,
That's what I mean.
yeah.
It's Zoolander.
He probably is a bit like that, I think. But he's completely unaware of any of that sort of side of
Linda's
things.
just in the door like,
Oh, hello, Linda.
She didn't tell me you work with them.
got his wrench out, Linda!
Phoenix hits her head on the floor and dies.
No! Just because you wouldn't have me horse. Don't take my
What's a
wife!
wife?
Don't
And a horse to be
take
flogged.
Oh!
But we certainly see Kaz on like various parts of the inside of the ship, various parts of the outside of the ship, just kind of like a time lapse of him just in certain different places, installing different sort of weapons, extra sort of just kind of systems for the ship. And he very much, the ship looks the same as it did before, but certainly more versatile than it used to be.
No, the horse ship,
The horse ship.
Nay.
the Orion's horse.
But I think there's a couple of things that Kaz would do outside of working on the ship.
Why that's got me? They do say somebody who doesn't know constellations. Yes, Ryan's horse.
How else does he get across the sky?
Ryan's horse, mate.
It's canon.
Right.
Oh, don't it hurt my head.
But there's a couple of things that Kaz would do. Other than that, I think one, he would do a little bit of research to see if there's any information on what the security is like at Keydale nowadays. Gauging, maybe that's what we're probably going to be doing next. Just try and get a little bit of a lay of the land, as it were. Has it been heightened since he was last there, or is it still the same?
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting one. So, I'm going to start with a culture check, and then if you're trying to do research on security... Let's start with the culture check.
I'm so bad at this. Yeah, I'm so bad at this. 8.
Okay, so the DC is, because it's your culture, not that high. It's not a great roll, however.
No, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying to like find out what's happening now, and I haven't been there for ages.
No, exactly that. And I think what kind of lends into the fact that, one, that roll is low, and two, you haven't been there for a long time, is that Keydale was so secretive when you were there. You know, people talk about the area, like this tower, Keydale, that every now and again you see somebody with wings flying from. Bird-like creatures were then replaced with humanoids that look like birds. And that's the kind of myth around it.
Yeah.
But it's across this bright side of the planet, which is scorched by the sun 24/7. It's constantly facing the sun. So even to travel across the desert is pretty hard going.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, Skydock, which is the main spaceport on Verces, which is this very much like, if you can imagine, you know, in Rogue One when they've got the gate, which is around Scarif, which is the shield gate.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but without the shield. And there is this big elevator that goes up to it, which is called, I think it's just called like the rope or the cable, basically. And that's, for some reason, constantly under attack. Terrorist groups and other organisations are like, right, we control Skydock, we control the planet, destroy the cable. And there's a constant like security around that alone. And the actual it's called the Ring, I believe, Ring of Nations, which is the band of livable, inhabitable space on this planet. And the majority of the people on this planet live there. To even try and get word out, everything has to go through there, which trying to get word on Keydale is really, really hard, because even then it seems like it is controlled and it is hard to get at. Could you make me a computer's check, please, as you begin scanning the infosphere?
Yeah. That is 35. Okay,
cool. So Keydale is just not on there. You know of it. People have this same myth, the same legend, and that it is not unknown that is where the Strix live. That is information that is free to gain, but it is mostly that they are so secretive and so private. And doing a spoogle of them, you can literally. You can find some Strix that have maybe left or maybe have done, but even they don't talk much about it. You come up because you've literally been on the infosphere under newscasts and stuff like that. And although it wasn't this drow thing, it's now come to light that you are Strix, because some people have been like, that's not a drow, that's a Strix.
Sure.
And again, it's not massive information. You're not seeing people come after you for it or anything like that. I think maybe you get some satellite images.
Okay.
With a 35 as you go hunting around for...
Digging a bit deeper.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think somebody on a forum somewhere is just like into, let's have a look at this side of the planet, let's have a look at all the secret things, because people are interested in secret things. If people say they don't try and look at Area 51 on Google Maps, they're lying. People are like, I want to see what's in there, and that kind of happens. And you see that 9 times out of 10, most of this stuff that comes up is just like these images of this tower. There is like a landing platform at the top of the tower, which you can see like a ship could land on, maybe 2 or 3 different ships. It's big enough. Yeah. So there's nothing that shows on there. You can see it's probably been scrubbed clean. But you know as well, your own ship has taken off from that particular landing platform in the past.
Yes.
And it's very heavily controlled.
Yeah.
There is probably a lack of security around Keydale and around the desert because it's protected by the environment. Yeah. However, with a 35, over the course of a couple of days, and we're talking about day 8, day 9,
sure,
you think you start to see patrols of vehicles and maybe people. It's not that detailed, it's not that good of a scan, but there are definitely, there's a heightened security of patrolling squads around.
On the ground.
On the ground.
Yeah.
And not just at the base, but like out a bit further.
Okay. Alright.
And then that information is gone again.
It's taken down pretty quick, kind of thing, sure.
I think at 35 you find out that the security has, and it literally goes up the last couple of days.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we'll certainly take note of that, and probably we'll mention it to the crew whenever we meet up again. But the other thing he'd like to do, he wants to spend a bit of his money.
You haven't got any money.
I've got money.
It's got 6,100 credits.
No, we don't. How much you got?
He spent on Chin.
I actually have 6,727.
Alright, we're going to spend it on?
Some more augmentations. But also, I can't remember if... I think one of us maybe have got it before, an ability crystal. Are they available?
Some of them are.
Just one, and a mark one.
Yes, they're very, very much available. It's actually diamond surplus and...
Yes.
The thing.
The thing.
I think her name is Diamond Noro. But Ability Crystal Mark 1, yes, you absolutely can. I think that's what you got as well, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, Koenigs.
Oh.
Fucking useful.
Yeah, I seem to remember. I think
Yeah.
that was that. So yeah, I will certainly purchase one of those if they're available.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Go on. I don't think they stack. Do they stack?
No.
No.
So you're
they
going to
don't,
use
do they?
one crystal per ability score, sort of thing.
Yeah. You can buy a higher one,
Yeah.
but it doesn't stack on top, it replaces.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's an item, though.
And it comes in 3 different flavours depending on if you're wanting it to be technology, magic, or
Okay.
physical.
Doesn't-
So it's
it-
like a crystal or a chip or something.
Right, okay.
But you can't buy like one crystal, one chip because they're basically the same thing.
Yeah,
so you
it still
can't
follows the
stack
same
them.
rules of being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds.
You don't remember the name of that person?
It's not just that; it's that also she is a.
Yusoki, I believe.
She
is-
was a Yusoki,
She
yeah.
absolutely is because she's actually one written into the law of.
The official
Oh,
Starfinder.
official Starfinder law.
Yeah.
We're so dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, queen.
The main reason I am looking for something is because she will outright be like, she might charge you more for it than what it says on there.
That's fucking rude.
But you have visited there before.
We have.
We have.
Which,
And I believe we made a quite good deal last time.
I did, yeah.
So,
I was Ida. Also, definitely a useful
yes.
ability crystal purchase.
I was about to say, if you took things off him, it was just in his arm.
We
we
took
took
everything.
the sheet off
You just
him.
never told us.
I know, I said I was coming with the sheet this week.
so we have a Mark 1.
Yeah, you've got Mark 1.
Oh, I'll just take that.
yeah. Take that and.
Hey, I've been taking apart Ida's arm. Do you want this?
You know what? I was just thinking about it. I'm getting one of them.
Well, there you go, Kaz. Isn't it helpful that I'm staying here for a couple of days?
I can always count on you, can't I? Yep.
Captain and Chief Mate, here again we go again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you definitely have one of those on the card.
I'm just trying to remember what level, because I can't remember if it was 1 or 2.
A Mark 2 is quite expensive. It's like
think it was
3.5
Mark
grand, I think it was.
It was a lot of monies.
Yeah,
but-
I think they were both Mark 1s
Yeah.
because the Mark 2 was both expensive and there was only one because they're rare.
Lana, Diamond, Nokoriso. They went
Well,
so-
if everyone's alright with me taking that one, I'll take
Yeah,
that.
go for it.
Probably the only way there you get to the door is like, doesn't need a
Hang
hat.
on.
You forget to hand your money over, like, hang on a minute.
TJ's just got a little box of like Ida belongings. Have that.
If there was
otherwise,
something from Ida's, I wouldn't
I'll buy
have
other
minded
stuff from
them.
her as well, because I'm looking for other things.
Okay, so you have been there before.
Yes.
You do need to make me a diplomacy, intimidate, or bluff check.
Do you want to take TJ with you for that?
I'm not actually too bad with diplomacy.
Okay.
Not too bad.
Him going out on his own.
Proud of him.
Proud dad moment.
Standing at the door. Come on.
That is a number 22.
Okay, you see this.
My boy.
Lana Diamond Nokoriso is a Yusoki. They wear like silk weaves, and it is Decimol silk. You know that. They have this armor that is always covered in knives. That seems to be like their main weapon of choice. They've got this white fur and red eyes. They're very narrow-faced. And yeah, you are shown this shop, which is really filled with standard weapons and armor and stuff like that. You come back in, she's like, and I can't remember her accent. It probably was trying to be New York, knowing me. Yeah, what do you want? But she, gives you a little bit of like the lets you go around, but then it's like, okay, I know that you're good for it. You're back for more, and we'll bring you into the back where it just opens into a warehouse of
Just racks and racks of like
items, upgrades, cybernetics, augmentations. Because augmentations were so heavily, and anybody can create and make them, but Dynatech really were on it for being the monopoly.
Yeah.
Now she's like, you can tell that she's opened up a little bit, and she's like trying to use this time to like push her augmentations and stuff. So when you come in and you're like, yeah, I want stuff, she's just like, yeah, let's take you in the back. I already know that you are good for it, so let's do a deal. You can take 10% off the
price.
Ooh.
price. Things that you want.
Sick.
Returning customer.
Can you? The question to GM. Can you sell augmentations that you've implanted already?
Yes. You get them,
Like you would normally, just...
yeah, 10% of the cost, basically. Unfortunately, that is a Starfinder mechanic, where it's just like, no, you're not looting everybody, you're not getting all the money.
That's fine.
But you can make me another diplomacy check, and I might change that.
Against
Shits and
Ian's
gigs.
DC. Do it,
Ian's
go on.
DC, yeah.
But you roll, add 1.
Not so great. 18.
Yeah, it's going to be 10%.
Okay. I'm looking for some electrolocation grafts for the hands.
Oh,
It's quite a cheapy. It's quite a cheapy one, to be fair. But in the grand scheme of things,
Can we sell our UPBs for cash?
yeah, it was like 1 for 1.
She happily will
Is
switch
it 1
over
for 1?
1 for 1 UPBs for credits.
Have you got some still?
I've got so much. I've got so much
Because
cash.
they also weigh stuff where credits
Yeah,
don't.
and I want to buy some things.
I've been rinsing my money every chance I can get.
Because UPBs are great on ship repair
Yeah.
and stuff like
Because
that.
we've got a ship
Yeah.
thing.
We
haven't
had
we,
a
for that?
ship stash of UPBs, which I assume you've been using.
I haven't been delving into it. I've just only used what I've been given.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because we had the UPB store for damage and repairs.
Interesting. So I'm going to read this out
Okay.
before I make a decision.
yeah, sure, go for it.
So this is a level 2 item, so you're probably going to get it because it's only a level 2 item. Price is 750, so you'll get that for
675.
675. System all hands or all feet. Are you going for hands, are you?
Yes.
Okay. Urogs, which are silicon-based, which you played an Urog in a home game, can feel the presence of other creatures through conductive surfaces. Sensors installed in your hands or feet or similar appendages, penis, can do the same. When you are in contact with a crystalline or metallic surface, you can detect the presence of other creatures within 60 feet that are also in contact with the same surface, even through walls and other obstacles. This otherwise functions as blind sense in electricity. Yes, you can absolutely have that. Bear in mind,
Take that off the list.
conductive materials.
Yeah.
That's why it's only level.
Metallic and crystalline.
Exactly. But being on a space station, or
Yeah,
on a
I'd say
ship, and
if
being
I-
like
yeah.
fucking made of metal, mate. Somebody in there.
Yeah.
Fucking too right.
Yeah, I
It's
just
such
feel like
good
it's got a little
augmentation.
bit of like additional versatility for Kaz. So
Old radar brain over
he
there.
can't go for the feet because he's already got stuff in his feet already.
Yeah, you got them old sticky pads, haven't you?
Cool.
That's really good.
And
Yes, you can.
There's
6,
two
7,
other
5.
things that I would like to inquire about.
Let's go.
First one is quite a little bit of a bigger purchase. The Strix Mobility Graft, which is basically wings installed into your spinal column.
Can you give me a recall knowledge check, please?
Oh, that's out of there. 13.
13. You got any culture on top of that?
I have some culture. You want me to add it to that roll?
Yep.
18.
Your wings, Elena's, Rags, the whole team were removed.
Yeah.
Coming out of that fight when they were a fighter, both of them stepped off 183 foot of stairwell
Right, okay.
and just dropped. You haven't seen them with wings.
No. I mean, we kind of watched them go down, right? Or did we just sort of like...
Maybe just did Reese like Leno went, "Are we flying, are we?" and then disappeared.
Okay.
Everybody else leave the table, please.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Just for a weird at the same time.
It's pretty much break anyway.
Yeah.
Almost.
Do you get a tea?
Caused some shit.
No, but you stumbled upon something that I think is very interesting.
Sure.
You consider Felena and Rag doing that, and you're like, they can't fly.
Yeah.
And there's just something in your back that feels
Like twinges or whatever.
twinges. Could you make me a D20 roll? You may add your key ability score modifier, please.
So, Constitution. So that'd be 15 in total.
You can feel those nanites in that area. And you can feel them latching onto, because the bone's still there. It's been cut, and just like, you know, in like X-Men when like they take an angel's wings off, you've still got like the nubs. You don't really have the nubs, but you still have the connective joints where like your shoulder blades would be in like just inwards. And it's the first time when you start considering it, and you take that time to like just look inwards, and you can feel something building there.
It's like some rebuilding the structure of the
Maybe.
form.
And I think this is probably early doors in this week. Because then you keep coming back to it, and you think about getting this graft, and you think about getting this particular augmentation, and just something, every time you think about it, really makes you focus on where your wings used to be. What would you do? No, let's do it this way. I think one of the nights when you're asleep, you are probably back on Keydale, or on Verces at Keydale. And you're probably with your parents, and the sun is scorching, and you're stood at a window, and you're probably very, very young, like you're still a fledgling, really. You're not really at flight or anything like that. And your parents are like showing you these big, expansive wings. And I think your father's probably pointing out into the desert and says, we are able to fly freely. It's one of the most freeing things about our species, our race. Although we stay here in this tower and close ourselves in, sometimes it's nice to stretch our wings. He steps out of this window and flies. And your mum steps up, and your wings are probably still small at this point, and she's just holding them and maybe like help, not like stretching them, but like helping you, just like I know, just I guess like light contact, something very comforting that isn't aggressive. And we'll start tomorrow. We'll start small. And the next day happens, and you wake up and you're excited, and you go to one of the first, there'd be like halls of flight, or they'd be called something like that, where fledglings and youngsters would start on small perches and they would try and extend their wings and glide down. Give me a athletics check, please.
26.
Okay. It doesn't take you long. There's something about stretching them out and just letting the wind like course through them as you drop, and you land, and you get to grips with it really quickly. Can you make me another key ability score check, please?
Key ability score. So 10.
Okay. And like maybe for the cameras and for viewers, we see like as you're like lying on your front, and like we see you like smiling as you land. You're almost like, that was amazing! And we see this like smile on Kaz's face in his sleep, and we watch like the areas on your back, just like the skin bubbles slightly, but then we then see like another few bits of your dream where you do it and you skim like the ground, you like scrape your knee and like and we watch like those bits on your back stop, and we see like you become nervous, or something happens where you become a bit like, oh, but I'm not ready to fly, or maybe I'm going too soon. And we like go into the next day, and there is, I think it's a bit higher now, and your dad is like, I need you to get up there. I want you to really give it everything. Imagine that your body is light as a feather, and you want to like put all this power into it, and he wants you to try and get up to this area. I think that is going to be I'm going to check what the flying rules are when you're clumsy.
Clumsy.
Additional movement types. Give me 2 seconds.
That's all right.
So, Clumsy, you're going to take a minus penalty check to acrobatics.
Okay.
I'd like to make an acrobatics check, please. You're going to take a -8. Is that cocked?
No, that's not cocked.
Okay.
-8.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Alright, well, that's a straight 15.
I think you get a couple... And you like reach up, but like maybe like as you extend your arm, your wing gets in the way, and it causes you to like clumsily fall. And you like smash your face into the ground. And as that happens, we see Kaz asleep, and we see like his head wince, and we watch as like the skin breaks on his back, and there's almost like blood coming out. And we can see like in the next scene, your mum like patching up your wing. But we also see this like side by side where you are. There's like a wound on your back. The next day comes round, and maybe it's been like a little while, and Kaz looks pretty beat up. Not like he looks now with his like manked eye, but like you can tell he's been working hard at it. You can tell that like maybe there's like a small montage of like him, even at nighttime at home, like practicing off the side of like his like cot, or from like areas where we just see him like covered in like plasters and scrapes and stuff, and. This time, you're up high, and your mum and your dad are with you. And I think they're both comforting you, saying, and I think you're nervous, and they're like, it's okay. I failed on my first time, I hit the ground hard. And your dad's like, me too. You will get there, though. We're here. And when you're ready, all you have to do is take a leap of faith. Let your wings stretch out, feel the air, glide, and when you think you are at a decent speed, try and pull yourself back up. Use your body, use everything you've got, and arc back up to the sun. And like, how would Kaz, in that moment, like, how would he react as a child?
What's being told by his parents to like being
it's like 60 foot up,
and they wanted me to just from flat ground straight up.
No, it's actually from like a 60 foot up
I see.
to drop, glide, and try and bring yourself back up.
Gotcha.
Using, and you're in these like internal rooms, these like halls of flight, where there are like feathers everywhere, and it is kind of like an aviary in a way. These like alcoves and these perches.
I think he would feel a rush of determination, I think, being given some comforting words by his parents, saying that it's okay, they're there, we've got you. I think he finds a certain level of confidence within himself, and he thinks, yes, I can do this.
I think after a few... In fact, actually, let's do a check on that. Let's roll a d20, add your key ability score modifier. Oops, out
of the tree.
Look and laugh at you outside.
20.
DC is 20.
16 plus 4, that's fucking just.
Can you make me an acrobatics check, please?
Out of the fucking tree, come on. Fuck. 13.
You have this confidence and you take the step. The wings go out, but you stumble on that first step and you begin to fall, and it is quite clumsy. I need you to make a reflex saving throw, please, to try and stabilize before you hit the ground.
20.
Okay, you manage to like arch your back, you manage to bring your head up, and you bring that left wing out to match, and like as your body kind of like reacts to the wind current beneath you, you then feel like you're back in control. I now need an acrobatics check, please. You have the average maneuverability, which before you carry on, so it's -8 to fly while you have clumsy. Things with perfect gain a +8. I believe with average you are at flat 0, so it's just an acrobatics check, please.
Okay, so 21.
Okay, you are just about to hit the floor, and you like pull up, and you can feel your wings. And this is where you have to like be really strong against the current and against like the wind and gravity. And you manage to like bring yourself round from this headfirst dive into like your feet being close to the ground and those wings catching the air, and you can feel it in your feathers and like attached to your back and near your spine. And you begin to essentially bring yourself down to the ground. I now need it will be an athletics check to like give it one massive beat.
Okay, that's a good roll. 28.
Okay, you in this final moment as it's like that momentum goes from downwards to then like turning over, and it's like it's now or never. You flap those massive wings and you start heading on it up. And I think we see from your point of view, you see that extra like perch that's in this like alcove of stone inside the area. You go up 30 feet. I would now like a final key ability score check.
Okay.
What is your key ability score modifier?
+4.
I'm afraid the DC is still 20.
Good.
Do you have
that
any
was
cred
not
sticks?
intentional.
That's not an intentional
No.
roll.
Do I have any what, sorry?
Cred sticks.
1.
Okay.
Joking. It's 19 on that one. I'll spend it.
Go for it.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Thank you.
Come on.
No, it's high.
Yeah, I'm so close, that one. No.
Someone's right.
Come on. No. No.
I think in the dream, you reach for it and you feel your wings, that strong push, and I think you're so intent on trying to grab this ledge that you almost forget to do your wing beat because it's so new to you.
Mm-hmm.
Externally of the dream, what we see is the nanites forming structure.
Right, okay.
And we see them create this like arch of bone.
Mm.
And it's as you make that beat, they do the same thing. And these extra spines, like these extra bones, then start to appear in mechanical form.
Mm.
No wings, no feathers even yet, but like the structure of wings is there. And as you forget to beat in the dream, we watch as they just rescind back in.
Okay.
That's where we'll go to break.
Okay.
We will see you all in about 10 minutes' time.
Yes.
See you then. Welcome back, one and all, to part 2 of episode 68 of the Starfinder podcast here on the Dragonborn Industries channels. I feel less loopy after that interaction because I had to really concentrate on being like...
I know you got a wonderful cup of tea.
I do. I enjoyed that very much so.
So did
you
I.
struck upon something that
What did you guys do?
we
Well.
blast each other in the ring hole until...
I missed it.
Yeah.
Watch it back on
Missed all the action.
red button feature. No, so obviously these guys will probably go back and watch that anyway. But for the sake of just the narrative here and then, I really enjoyed where that led. I think it also saves you
Yes.
what we spoke about. Because in a minute we are going to jump back into the shopping.
Yes.
that
Yeah,
would take
I won't take too much time with shopping. Or will I?
3 hours later.
But realistically, obviously, you guys realise as well, shopping-wise, while you're on Absalom session during these 10 days can happen. So if you guys bought anything during the breaks, I know that I walked back in from making a cup of tea and chatting to Jack, and you were like, oh, everyone's quiet, and you're like, shopping! So obviously, we're going to carry on with what Jack's buying in a minute, or what Kaz is buying in a minute. What have you guys purchased so far?
Go ahead of me.
TJ has bought something extra for his camera. He has bought a scanner. He's upgraded to a true frame camera. So it has all the capabilities of an enhanced camera, which is that it has a wider band of wavelengths, including infrared, low light vision and dark vision with a range of 60 feet, and can record up to 24 hours of footage. The True Frame edition part of it has a multi-spectrum programming designed to detect the slight errors in shading and lighting that are artifacts of holograms and illusions. So they can shift varying wavelengths, detect image and actual objects, identify holograms and illusions with overlay text or masking, and they can automatically identify holograms and illusion via sense through vision, except for images that is specifically for cameras or other surveillance systems.
Yeah, so what that is a very, very good kind of like, not like true sight, but it's enough that like, you know, you'd be like, oh, well, that's 60 hertz over there through my 60 hertz camera. You can see it like flashing away, and you're like, right, that's a hologram or an illusion. Also, like the infrared, fantastic. If a smoke screen goes up, fantastic. In conditions that add obscurity, don't get me wrong, it's not going to change your attack bonus.
No.
But you'll be able to bring people on. Also, you'll get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Target you can see. And if you have a live feed to your data
so
pad,
much of my stuff is site-based.
target you can see.
So, yeah, that's going to help with that. And also, like, I feel TJ's had the same camera for a while. He likes it, but if he's going to be the lead exploration Histoki, he's got to have the gear.
Yeah, and I think that's, if anybody's listening that has any access to my bank accounts, if you're going to do anything, you need to buy. Also, isn't that right, Jack? Just like, have an idea of doing something, buy all the gear.
Yes. Yeah. Even if you don't know how to do it, just do it.
ADHD, hyperfixation.
No. I have like 2 cases of paint. Like one came from Jack, who bought all the paint, painted like 2 minis. And I was like,
yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me, Jen.
It's not for you, Jen.
So, scanner for the camera and the upgrade to it. Anything else?
Yeah. A coffee machine for the ship.
Yes.
Yes.
Actual item coffee machine.
I'm trying to buy one, but yeah, I want to buy. TJ wants to buy an actual, like, a really nice coffee machine for the ship, and he's gonna put a little bow on it, and put a little sign like to my wonderful and valued crew.
The Spelongini.
Spelongini. Have all the pods there, ready to go.
All that plastic waste.
Teach Dave to use it, be the barista.
I think that's in Pathfinder. Just double checking archives.
What? Coffee maker in Pathfinder?
It's just a person.
But there is coffee cup and coffee machine in Pathfinder.
There's a coffee pot.
That's the coffee pot's the one in Pathfinder.
Oh, it's Nethys, yeah.
Just going to try and bring it up on Starfinder, because there probably is something about... There is probably an item somewhere. I mean, I don't want to dive too deep in this one. Drinks machine. There's probably some kind of like comfort items. Yeah, I'm not going to deep dive into that now. Really, like a proper good one, yeah?
Yeah, like a decent one.
Let's look at common items and how much they cost. Household items. Starfinder. So Mr. Swallow was the name of
yes.
Nick Mohammed's character, by the way, just to clap back to an old episode.
It's Jurassic.
Oh, what, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I gotcha.
It's a massive time.
So, like an allergy pod, aquariums, artificial plants are all 1-2 credits, chemical heat packs, cosmetics, energy food pellets, fire extinguishers. Not 1-2 credits, that's their bulk. They're like 50 to 100. Chemical cold pack is 5, cosmetics 20, galaxy map 100. Come on, there's got to be something. Mag weights 75. Tattoo 25.
Sick.
Some really fun ones on here. 6,100.
Kaz?
I haven't got the money anymore. I've spent it.
Aerosol spray 80. You know what aerosol spray is?
No, is that like squirty cream?
Pocket linguist.
May as well be.
So, aerosol
Why is
spray
it in my mouth?
is an opaque liquid stored at high pressure with compressed gas and spray canister. The stand action, you can depress the canister trigger to spray the aerosol in a 5-foot burst which fills a singular square. Big so you can see any hidden or invisible laser beams in there.
That's cool.
Talcum powder.
There's a self.
Yeah, basically, squirty talcum.
100. That's exactly what it'll be.
Wicked.
There you
Take
go.
it off.
Pot self-eating. Yeah, that literally will be it.
Lovely.
There are some fun things in the basic items.
There really are. I think I might do some more shopping while I'm here.
Personal items, an aquarium. The idea of that.
Wait, what personal items?
Yeah, type that into Google and Starfinder. It'll come up with the list of them in Archives of Nethys. And it's because obviously they link to all the other books then as well. Like an aquarium for 50. A glass aquarium can hold 10 gallons of water, a varying salinity and acidity to hold aquatic flora and fauna. So you could like have that all over your ship and stuff. And somebody like Gil would have something like that filled with different brines.
You can get stomach tabs.
Yeah.
That was 2 different vibes.
Junk
Acid
camouflage.
reflux.
Yeah, I think there's some fun stuff in there, but things like a speech encoder, stabilizer bracelets.
Grooming moss.
Yeah. You've gone hunting for a copy pot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're looking at personal items.
Yeah.
Did you buy anything else for Pez?
I bought a advanced data. I can never remember the call of it. Advanced data jack.
Didn't you have one of those with Ida?
He had high density, so it's the next one up. So essentially, I can either plug a small device into the back of my head, very sort of like Matrix, or I can take the cord and put it straight into a computer.
Yeah, it means that you don't. So advanced data jacks usually are like you don't have to then. Your hands are free.
Yeah.
So you could be like hacking a computer and be like, "Well, my hands are free." Way. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else?
No. I was just looking at some other sort of like common items on the equipment list.
Good. Anything for Sylph?
I mean, I'm still looking for bits, but in general, I'd like to up my vortex rifle from the pulse to the surge.
Yeah, I would sell the pulse then for 10% of it, and then which I think you just hit sell in Hephaestus.
And then it will do the 10%, and then buy the surge, and then
fucking great weapon. Jesus.
Yeah, so it's going up to 2d6 instead of 2d4, so still not the highest of pulse, but if it has a critical, obviously has all those other effects on it.
Yeah, it's stupid. And that's something that we don't actually see very often. It's like, level 8, but you're still only rolling 2d6 on weapons and stuff. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's because the NPCs and the monsters are built to a slightly different stat block to what you guys are built to. So they have like set amounts of HP, they have set amounts of things. So it's actually quite balanced for your level. And I think that particular rifle is what, level 8 or 9?
I think this one's 7. Let's see. Pulse rifle surge is level 6.
Oh, okay.
Because the next one up's level 12, and I can't afford that one yet.
Yeah, but when you do get to those, it's fucking insane. It's
and then the other thing I'd like to buy is some Lashunta Temp Weave.
Yeah. What level? Or which mark?
I believe the lowest one, which is a level 8.
Nice. Very, very accessible.
Yeah.
All stuff like this on Absalom Station, absolutely obtainable.
I will no doubt come back to you with maybe a magical item, but it's like there's so many, I'm still reading through them, and I'm just like,
Usually I would say if you've got the credits, buy it, but just with a magical item, just let me know.
Yeah, I will.
Because there will be different resources and stuff, or it might be something that's like, this is very much an illegal thing in the Pact World. It might be heavily... It's not saying you can't get it, it just means that I might have to tell you where that is, and we might have to do something with it. Otherwise, just remember to obviously reattach batteries and put your ammo on there.
That's another thing. Yeah, I just wanted to buy 10 more rounds of ammo, and I wanted to buy some health potions.
So long arms, you just go into, I think it's in your inventory, add item, and then you should be able to type in rounds, which say long arm rounds. When you add those, it'll add like a bulk of them. And they're dirt cheap, and although long arm rounds is for analog weapons, for like things that have projectiles. If it's the vortex rifle, I imagine it's batteries.
I believe it's batteries, yeah.
So, yeah, and then just go into the item itself and just make sure you add ammunition type, battery standard or higher, whichever one you're using. Is that all the items so far?
So far, yeah.
So far.
Yes.
Hello.
We're going to jump back into Diamond's surplus store,
Yes.
where you have this thought, and I think maybe you think to the past couple of nights, and I think you're aware of something.
I think I sort of maybe go to ask for it and go, actually, no, maybe I'll
Hold off for a bit.
hold on. Just having some background thoughts in my head. Yes. Okay. Quick question. Resolve points.
Yep.
Can you use resolve points multiple times in a turn? I can't
We've
remember.
covered this, haven't we? I think I think because Nerifira could, and I think you can only spend 1 resolve point per turn, I think. Or
So, I'm having a look in here and I can't see anything that says just 1. It says resolve points can be spent a number of ways, with many classes letting you spend them to activate class features and regain resources. Some abilities don't require you to spend points but are active only as long as you have a minimum number.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Your resolve points can never drop below 0, apparently.
Okay.
I don't know how does that work? If you have 1 left, you spend it.
I
You still got 1.
suppose
Things
if there are
deplete.
certain things also which cost 2 resolve points rather than 1. So
Yeah,
if you're
it's a
on 1 resolve point and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, can I do this thing for 2 resolve? You can't.
Yeah, so you can't get to minus. Or if something depletes you of it, it says, right, it takes 10 off you and regains half of what it takes. Or I've only got 1 resolve point, it doesn't even gain. Yeah, so it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you're right, because obviously you can then spend it to get an extra reaction or extra thing on your turn. You've then got abilities that allow you to spend it as well. So actually, I think you can spend more than 1, but then it'll tell you can only do this once. So like spending to get an extra reaction, you can only do this once per round.
Yeah, but so if for example, if I wanted to move action, but as well as having another reaction, I could do that on the same turn.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I will ask, what's her face?
Wow.
Diamond.
I don't suppose you have any cardiac accelerators, do you?
This is a great item. What level is that?
Not entirely sure. I think 6 or 7.
They absolutely should be. This is right down there. Hallie. So, this is a level 6 item at 3,850. It goes into the heart. This implant plugs directly into your heart and can be triggered to overclock the performance of your heart and circulatory system. When you run, charge, or take a move action to move, you can spend 1 resolve point to increase your speed in the relevant mode of movement by 20 feet for that action. This extra movement is treated as an enhancement bonus. Alternatively, you spend 1 resolve point as a reaction when you attempt to reflex saving throw to gain a +1 enhancement bonus to your roll. Absolutely. They will have one of those. Okay. And you see, she has these drones that go and find little boxes and cases, and they bring it out, and it looks like a needle.
Yeah.
And they smile, and they are like, "This is all you will need," and implant this directly into your heart, and it will do the work. And you know full well that basically this acts as like a. I think it's almost like a stiletto. You have to penetrate your heart with it, but what it will do is it will self-plug its own wound, and then it spiders out with these actuators, and it basically has these little amounts of self-creating adrenaline in there that allow you to and you can act. It becomes part of the heart system. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I would happily take that as well.
You also had 10% off earlier, didn't you?
Yep.
So what? 3,850. That's.
So that'd be
38.
Take it 385 away from that. Around 3,500. Around that. I'll calculate it in a minute.
Yeah.
Did the ability crystal come from here as well?
No, you took it from Ida, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I took it. Yeah. Take that to calculations.
At this level, can we go past 22?
For what, sorry?
I think you can.
I was looking at buying an ability crystal. I think I've got enough just for a Mark II, but when I attach it just as to try it out and put it on my dexterity, it doesn't push anything up higher. It
20.
caps out at +6.
Ooh.
But if I put it onto my intelligence, which is only +2, it brings it to +6 and caps it there.
So.
Brings it to +6.
Hmm?
Brings it to +6.
Yeah, I've got +2 already, so a Mark 2's +4.
So I thought it's +4 to the number, as in like +2 would be like 14 intelligence score. +4 to that will make it 18, which then would be a +4 intelligence modifier, not +6.
So my at the minute is it's 18 plus the 4. Then it's the +6. It brings up.
Oh, because it gets you
yeah.
up to 22.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
But if I do it onto my dexterity, which is 22 plus 6, it doesn't bump any higher than 22.
Yeah.
There will be a reason it's capping that.
Yeah.
Stat caps. Let's have a look.
We can work it out at a...
Yeah. I feel like at level 8 there probably is a cap there.
So many rules.
So many things.
So many.
Because I remember we had this with Ida when we did an ability thing, and it wouldn't
switched it over, yeah.
and it wouldn't push it any higher.
It looks like it will be capped.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the actual thing for you there. I think we're going to have a look at that.
That's
one.
fine. Like I said, that's.
I have to dive really far into that. I mean, feel free to keep looking for it.
Yeah,
now,
that's fine.
But I'm not going to spend too long here right now on that one. I know that you're capped at level 1 up until level 5. I think it is.
This is what I was thinking.
And then level 5 you get to breach 20. I think it is. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's only those ability score increases that allow you to go beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm not sure. Anything else?
At some point, I'd probably, those spell crystals that got picked up with Nerifira.
Yes.
I believe they're probably in your inventory.
Don't think I picked them up, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I will have a quick look here.
I feel like we've had this conversation. Who's got them?
Yeah.
I don't think I've got them.
I definitely didn't pick them up.
Nope.
I'm fairly sure you did.
No, because I wasn't there for that episode.
You were, because it was me and you looking at Nerifira. I picked up the panelling, and I think you did the
The
arcana
spell
to find
crystals were
it.
from inside the storage room.
Oh, okay.
It was the time I was away.
I'm going to get a cheeky bitty crystal, I think.
Nice.
Let's whack it up. Let's make it a bit
For
more
me,
useful.
nothing else
Okay.
at the moment.
Um,
I'll get some long arm rounds, but they're cheaper ships. So.
Yeah.
Sniper rounds. Even.
Can I request retroactively to have got those spell crystals, or is that...
I think this is what we did last time, and I was quite firm on like,
Yeah,
oh,
if it's
now,
not
but
in
it's not on your character
anyone's,
sheet,
yeah.
then they are gone. Unless somebody's specifically written those down at this point, I'm gonna say
I'll have a little quick read through just in case I've written them down.
because you might have written them in. If you've written them in your notebook, then that's fine.
Yep.
Found it. The highest you can go to on a ability score is 26.
Okay, where's that, please?
That is on Archives of Nethesis.
And it'll say Starfinder call book page.
Bear with me. It is on core rulebook page 18.
Look at this. Look at me now.
Father!
It comes up as a table 2-1.
Scores and modifiers. So that one says. So 2-1 says what the modifier would be. But what we're looking for is if, because I know that it says when you're level 1, it can only go up to
18.
So we need
Okay.
to find that
But
and then
then
see if
you'll-
it says about breaking those. So.
We can have a look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fine.
There's a lot on it.
Lots and lots and lots.
Later on your level up, you gain ability boosting gear. Your base score may rise above 18, but 18 is the highest value of any character you can start out with. So, divide these points later. No, okay, I'm going to find out later.
Yeah,
This is way too in depth. We sit there and go through that one for hours.
I've written down for gems 4 level 2 spell gems. They were not named,
Correct, they were not named.
and then 1 level 3 gem.
Add those to your sheet
May
now.
I request to have those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay,
Kaz
Kaz
so-
has no idea. He's like, what the fuck?
So 4 2s and 1 3.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
You cross those off now, so we're not going back again.
We're not doing this again. And right, self. And then when I go back to it,
Oh, also, actually, can I buy the grooming moss? Because it's a cool little thing.
Yeah, grooming moss, yeah?
Yeah.
It's a personal item,
It's a
isn't it?
personal item. It's a little
6,100.
highest quality moss.
the universal price for everything.
You get them from like vending machines and chemists and stuff. Absolutely legit. In fact, buy as many as you possibly can.
What? And devastate my money on all my moss collection. On my little terrariums.
TJ has bought a little personal item.
Sorry, TJ, go again.
TJ's bought a little personal item. It is an attentive guidebook to the Pact Worlds. It's a tightly written guidebook providing an overview of the cultural practices of most settlements and species common to the Pact Worlds, including taboos, preferred greeting styles, and acceptable topics of casual conversation. Referencing this guidebook provides a +4 circumstance bonus to diplomacy checks to gather information in the Pact Worlds.
I mean, you may as well go and read this book.
But that's what you're for.
Pretty much, yeah. It's just like in my brain fog earlier trying to read Verces again. Like, I've got to memorise this again. Fuck, it's been like 6 months.
I've also bought some presents for people, but we can do that in a minute.
What'd you get me?
Love.
Oh, we don't want
Acceptance.
Oh, 15%.
Nuggies.
No, I'm still quite ill.
I bought you the gift of a Jack drawing today.
You did, actually. Why does Self look like they're going to pull me over and ask for my license and registration?
Oh my
It needs the whole like Canadian
Yeah, the full
officer, the mountain.
It's really speaking of things. When I was at school, there was a poster that someone had done in our PSHE room, and it had a figure that looked like that on it. And because it was about awareness of otherness and people who might need, you know, to be accepted for who they are. And it was just a little stick figure that looked exactly like that and just said, "I'm blind."
Blind Steve.
Do you know what? In normal daylight, she is a bit blind, so.
There you go.
Shit.
A bit.
What's wrong with you, Jack?
I'm so inept at drawing.
You just don't accept
I have
my
the drawing
blindness.
skill of a 4-year-old, and it has never progressed.
Look at the chat chin I gave Kaz.
I know.
Podcast listeners,
And I'm
I
glad-
will
glad
put the
for
group shot up onto Instagram and all the other socials, so go follow us along on there. So,
I obviously finished my shopping trip.
yeah.
And I think he just goes through the same process again. He goes back to the ship and he's like, right, got some more augmentations to make to my body. So he gets himself back.
Christ, what's he look like after this game?
Dave.
Oh.
Mech Kaz. But he sits in his chair and he just sort of goes to work, and even one with a heart, just almost like there's no hesitation whatsoever. He's just like gets it all prepped, ready to go on the side, and just straight into him, and just goes through the whole process of getting installed.
I mean, that one is brutal. That one is like you are stabbing yourself in the heart, and there's like this moment, it's like, and like, you know, that's like a life-ending procedure. But then this thing plugs its own hole, and then like,
I think I probably like will my nanos to try and heal the process faster.
And it's insane.
And then I think, and probably until the last day, he sort of does the one last little check on the ship, and then he sort of stands back and has a little look at it, and work here is done.
coffee.
On the fan. Yes, please.
It's from the new machine.
And then, machine.
It's a latte.
Is it one of those fancy ones?
It's a very fancy one, Kaz. I also got you a present. There you go. And I've got, Kaz, a gear maintenance kit.
A gear maintenance kit.
And a hygiene kit.
Now, hang on. Are you trying to say something here?
It's just because I know you've got a lovely lady friend, and I've noticed that you'll cut your hair, and that you're taking a little bit of pride in your appearance, and it's just to help you along that journey. And the gear maintenance, because I think it'll be useful to you.
Okay.
And gear maintenance and hygiene kit. Hygiene kit's a personal item. Gear maintenance.
It's also they're all personal items. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
I will use these when I feel as appropriate.
The hygiene kit is a daily thing.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Have another little space latte. Splatte.
Sounds like saying
Pez, I've got a
lattes.
splot chocolate for you. And also a gear maintenance kit. It's full of things like lubricating oil, drivers and wrenches, armor polish, wear and tear shit. Bruce.
Yeah.
I've got you a hammock for Wiley.
It's just straight jacket.
This is the first sleep I've got in about 10 days. If you could maybe knock or just not.
I'll just install it for you, don't worry, buddy. I've got him a hammock that orders metal discs that just goes wherever he needs it to go. Lady Sylph, I don't know much about you, so I thought that maybe this is something that you would find useful, and as a token of my appreciation because of all you did, I've immediately lost what it is. Terribly sorry. Let me go through my things. There's a
Well, TJ goes through their things. Why don't you go check out Warrior Prince 3D?
Fuck, has it gone?
You just go to the stars for 15% off your orders. If you spend £20 or more, you'll get a free Starfinder badge.
Because you were so helpful in helping me with Roy Orbison. This is just us. I don't even know if you can use these, but it seemed like a thing that seemed to fit you. Arcanoscopic lenses. Stylish eyeglasses with a bluish tint. No effect on your vision unless you're under the effect of detect magic. The lenses enhance the contrast of magical auras, making them easier to study and identify. While worn, they grant a +1 circumstance bonus to mysticism checks made to identify magical items.
That's very thoughtful and very kind of you, TJ. Thank you.
That's all right.
Good.
Just on top of the other glasses.
Oh my god, are they no, they're the ones that
Double.
They're the clip-ons.
Can they be like little clip-ons?
I thought you were going to say the old 3D film ones.
Oh, yes.
Just close one eye. Okay.
It's all red. Glasses
never
on
gave
glasses.
The actual words to prophecy spoken out by Dvorak's grandfather, Stark.
What's that called again?
They are arcanoscopic lenses.
Spelling.
ARCANA. SCOPIC. Put a space in between you and lenses.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have we picked up any healing potions?
I've got fuck ton. You want some?
No, I've got a couple.
Oh, I've got loads.
I'm just making sure we've all,
Is it worth getting those, what are they called? Nanite patches.
Med patches.
Yeah.
I got those.
Cool.
Yep.
I've also
stocked.
acquired a few healing, just in case.
Daddy TJ's been on the hunt, kids.
I've got you and Linda a present.
Oh god, what is it?
Frictionless loop.
Listen, Pez, there's one thing that you really need to know. Don't need it, son.
So, just because this was something I went looking for a little while ago for you and I couldn't find it, but from that particular exchange where you sent over 10 minutes worth of information, visuals and stuff like that, the actual thing that Dvorak's grandfather Skarok said, and as well all those silhouettes were going across the wall in that first place on Abel in the Dark Chi system. Darkness and might bound together to fight. Guardian cast upon the shadows. Knowledge and light. until the Child of Retribution return. Until the Child of Retribution return.
Again, please.
So, darkness. Darkness and light bound together to fight. Guardian cast upon the shadows. Knowledge and light.
Knowledge and light.
Until the Child of Retribution return. The Child of Retribution return.
Return. The Child of Retribution return.
That's something, obviously, OG crew all heard, and you would have got in that 10-minute, which then would have led you to when I was saying about like the blood binding and this prophecy and this wall and all the things that you got. But that was literally that is the phrase that was like spoken out. So, shopping all acquired.
Yep.
Kaz, you look fit.
Thank you.
You look clean. You look wonderful as always.
You look very mature with your new clipped moustache.
Thank you.
There's an extra level of confidence in you.
Your aura's gone up.
None of that shit. Strike shit. No, I'm feeling very assured, and I think we've had a tough run of it, but not to be all smushy about it. But we've come through it as a team, and we will continue as a team. This is a very aptly named ship. For those of you who are new to the ranks, the Orion's Hope used to operate under a different name, under a different captain and a different crew. And I think TJ will point to one of the photographs of the crew that they took from when they found the ship. It is named in their honor, and we are Starfinders as people, humanoids, goblins, bird people, will endeavour to follow in their footsteps. Hope is all we can ask for.
I think as this conversation's happening, you get a chime, and it would be on your compas. It would be you, Kaz, Roos, Pez would, Sylph wouldn't. I'm afraid. It's not saying you can't go to this, just that you kind of weren't there.
I know.
She wasn't there. You were there. She wasn't. Ren. You get a message that says...
Fuck does he want now?
Don't worry.
I thought I got rid of him.
An individual you don't like.
Kaz, okay.
There's hope you well.
I think it's a mutual... Well, it might be a bit one-sided, I'm not sure.
Very one-sided.
So this guy hates Kaz more, or loves Kaz?
Other way, yeah.
A stalker.
I think it's a bit of an unspoken competitiveness.
I see.
It may or may not be just me.
Presentation's like, right.
Kaz, I think you need to see someone about this.
What on earth are you talking about?
He's fine. He's doing growth.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of, competitive nature.
If it's one-sided, it is maybe a problem.
Maybe you do need to see someone. Anyway, what's Ren got to say?
It just says, crew of the Hope you're well. I think it's time for the garden to bloom.
Calyx, my boy!
It's finally time.
And you can tell it's somewhat coded, because obviously there's not public knowledge where these things are happening. No, it would say the garden's in bloom. You might want to be here for it. It wasn't a sexual reference.
I'm sorry, it's just it is old slang. And
I'm in bloom,
It is.
Wow.
Got a fucking wine on.
The garden is in bloom.
Well, we should make our way down
We
there.
should definitely
promptly.
go. Yes, absolutely. Dave should come.
Please come with us.
What is this little soiree you're being invited to?
Our dear friend and crewmate Calyx
Was super chastened.
He was super Jason and is now apparently
No longer super Jason.
Souffle.
I mean, you've got a lot of Calyx through that mental vision.
I have, but also
And it's heavily biased.
I've got a lot of that sort of vision, but also there is standing in Rena's office going through previous crewmate died, previous crewmate exploded, previous crewmate soup, and I was just like,
This is the soup
crew.
one.
This is a natural progression.
Yeah,
This
it's meant to happen.
This is not a death. It is a rebirth.
A new life.
I did see through your orb.
My special boy. Yes.
I understand who this individual may be.
Yes, my very special boy.
The soup.
The previous soup. We should go.
Yes, we
Very
need to go.
excited.
We don't want to miss it.
No.
You can also, by the way, long rest up until you are fully healed. Everything is sorted.
Yes.
Because you will have had 10 days for 10 rests. I'm pretty sure that will get you back to
Yes, it will.
It's a long rest. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You make your way back down through the layers of Absalom Station, working your way further and further towards that core, the Starstone reactor, which is in the Spike, this place where this entire city is based around, this beacon to the galaxy that calls out and tells everybody where home is. The Spike is not affluent, and it is not filled with places of grandeur. It is cramped together and people fight for space. Crime is a big thing down here. Gangs. It's claggy with moisture in the air from vents from the upper levels, and rust pretty much clings to every surface around. Kaz, as you move around with your new conductive sensors essentially in your hands, millions of people live here, all cramped up in one space. You have a migraine and die.
Please no.
No, I imagine they're reactive and you can choose to. It's not like constantly.
I'm overstimmed.
It's only within 60 foot or something anyway, so it's not
4 billion souls.
in this 60-foot diameter.
Yeah.
Stokey.
No,
They're
just
the walls.
No, they're little amoebas.
There's 50 people in just one tower.
But 50!
50?
Good callback. But it picks up other creatures as well, doesn't it? Not just... there are
Any creatures with
vermin, rats, there are things in the walls and the floors, and the further down you go, the more
dense.
Yeah, that becomes. So, you get this extra sense of things that you didn't have before. Like I said, money is not so easily thrown around down here, and you can tell that when you get to this disused warehouse on this level that you've been to before, and there is a security detail here, and you can tell it's Starfinders and stewards. And meeting you outside in their clipped white, almost mohawk, with these bright green eyes. They've got a red jacket on, and they have this sword on their back and pistols holstered on their side. Oh, it's good to see you again.
I ran.
Hi. How's everyone doing?
Good.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure's all mine. Quinlan Wren, Starfinder data jockey. How you doing?
You seem interesting.
This twat.
Pez, you need to be careful, pal. You're on your 7th strike.
Oh, it's 7 for 7, is it, Pez? Interesting. It'll be interesting to hear a review.
Yeah, I might have to
You're
do
down
that.
to 6 with me now.
No, it's not going to be me. I think I'm going back out to the field soon.
Oh, what else to?
I think I'm up to Traxxas.
Oh, interesting. We should talk about that, yes.
Catch up, yes.
It's probably the same thing.
It probably is the same thing.
You seem very interesting as well. Sorry to get distracted. It can be like that.
How fucking
I've
dare
already
you.
spent a few.
Eyes up here.
I've spent a few days with them already.
How are you finding it? And at this point, he's turning you around and walking you into this facility. And you're going through the front door, this big circular vault-like door. It's open, and you can see that there are security officials on the outside. And they don't bat an eyelid at bringing anybody inside. You move into that first room where you have that long corridor. You see the glass to one side where there is this living space that you met Nigel in, and it has been transformed into a sort of operating / holding area for the people here that are working here and maybe doing shifts and stuff. And you move into that first atrium. So you need a member to the crew then?
they seem to be allowing me to stay for a bit, and I'm having fun. It's never dull with these guys.
I'd agree with you there. It's
You love us.
So what's your history with them? Another crew member who survived?
not quite. How much do you know about the data files?
I am a Starfinder, so I know of them a bit.
Well, so I work directly under Historia. I am a field agent for the data files, and I met these lovely people. Just going between them. I met these people back on Keolix's homeworld, Kashoria. I was doing some reconnaissance out there with an old crewmate of theirs, Borag, who unfortunately is no longer with them. But they're good people. They're
the first one that died.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. Unfortunately, he was.
I'm learning that a number of the crew are ex.
Only 2.
Yeah, and well, Borag had only just returned to the Starfinders and to the crew, but he died valiantly, saving us all. Either we freed from captivity, and he would have made a fantastic Starfinder, but unfortunately,
He made better paint.
he didn't make it.
When he's talking about Vorag, I just give like an eye towards TJ from everything I've heard from TJ saying about Vorag, and then this side of Vorag, and I'm like,
But yeah, so this is the thing, but Ren is unaware of all of that. So Ren is literally just like, so as far as I'm aware, they're a good crew. This nature, unfortunately, being a data file is quite dangerous, and corporate espionage and reconnaissance is... she's a fickle mistress.
oh, but you do get to go out and see the world, though. All the fun and curious things that live out there.
Aye, it's not bad. And at this point, you're led through into what was called the Secret Garden, this room of silk farming, where you see still all of the like treadmills and those pens, but now you can see these like vast spider-like cocoons. And it's for a minute you walk in and you're like, oh, this isn't good. And it's like walking into a Resident Evil 1 It's like quite literally like going in and there is just webbing everywhere.
No.
And I think after being on Kashoria, after seeing, so I don't know if you guys have encountered certain things. There's a few encounters that I might have to go back and look at. I'm like, I don't think there's anything that was like heavy webbing or anything like that.
I don't think so,
I think you
no.
might have avoided those encounters. Very much wanted those encounters, but you didn't roll them.
It was just worms on the wall.
Worms and dinosaurs.
The dinosaur was fucking great.
Yeah.
It, you know, for a second, you are like, oh my god, I'm walking into a nest of things. And you can see that there are like, there's still this like android steward who is working there constantly, and a few other people. And you can see that like on each of the treadmills where the screens are that you could originally see this augmented reality, obviously Pez and Calyx rewrote essentially Shoria 2.0 and
Bad DLC.
yeah, now you can see that even on those screens, it's interesting because they're not dark or pitch black, but they're like a brown, red, orange light. Almost like if you were to close your eyes in a bright room, you can still sense and see the light, and you see like veins or the odd movement of like liquid on the screen, but it's not visible to anything past that. This room is filled with these cocoons, and you remember exactly where you left Calyx. You remember watching them comprise this cocoon of silk and go into it. And it's over into the left corner when you walk in, and you can see that like there's like a marking in the floor where a sword has been. And there's like a small stool, and Ren is like, well, I said I'd stay here, and that I have.
Oh, thank you, Ren.
It's the very least I can do. You had things to do, and I didn't.
Yeah, we had a lot to do.
I've been getting the filtered versions of things, but
I'll send you the director's cut later. You'll love it.
Don't you worry. I think a lot of the things are going to be coming my way soon anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it's time. I think looking at what some of the scientists and the more xenobiologists have said, should be any hour now. And over the sort of like next hour or two, you're just kind of like in this like comfortable position, and it's kind of like a lot of waiting around, and scientists still come through and they do like readings on the cocoons and stuff like that, and eventually you tell me, Tamsin, Calyx, how it happens. Because Calyx would be first.
So I think in the same way that it was all of these threads being pulled around, you see it from the inside, these sort of hands that are sort of just pulling threads apart, and it's working from the inside out, and eventually just coming out slowly from these threads, pulling them apart and sort of getting to the point of slightly ripping them, and you feel that sort of like tear thread of silk ripping apart, and it is these long spindly hands, and they still got, actually I think they have 4 fingers as adults rather than 3 fingers.
Break one off now.
I mean, knowing his strength, he very well could. And then instead of there just being 2, there's now 4. And it is 4 hands that are just sort of, and they're not fully like ripping and pulling, like there's a lot of like trying to ball up the silk. There's a lot of like trying to wrap it up. And you see he's like working his way out. He's like making points about wrapping it around his hands, and the silk's just pulling it apart. And he'll pull out and push his head and torso coming through, and it is this slightly wet, slightly bedraggled fur look. It is these huge, dark, hexagonal eyes, like you'd see on a dragonfly, like you'd see on a butterfly. And his fur is this kind of grey and white and charcoal black and rusty red. It is bands and patterns, and as he starts to sort of push his way up and sort of get his blood flowing, the antennae on his head start to like pump up with blood, and they start to unfurl, and they're these sort of like crown back of these really fluffy antennae of this sort of rusty red. And as he's seeing you guys outside, and it's hard to tell because his mouth is now a big old wrapped straw. It's a little, it's a proboscis. Okay. And he sees you guys as he's sort of pulling out of this cocoon, and his voice, I can't do it, but it'll be like a sort of hummy resonance to it, as he is speaking through a tube now. A little kazoo. And he is just like, guys, you're here. I'm so glad to see you. And his happiness at seeing you guys, and he will pull harder to pull out of this cocoon, all 4 hands grabbing at the edges of the cocoon and straining to push himself out. And as he will almost fall out, break a leg. And it is down. Sophie's ready.
Stops him out of the door.
Oh, a moth!
Scared of them. And yeah, the body is this sort of charcoaly grey in the torso, but his legs, they start off in this charcoal, but they go down into like fluffy ends, like he's wearing flares, but they're fluffy. And then on the ends of his hands, again, it's still this kind of slightly wet looking fur. but the ends of his arms go down into like fluffy palms. Not palms, fluffy
Cuffs.
cuffs. And he has like this huge fluffy ruffs.
Fluffy ruffs. And Hoisin could be Jezebel.
pork cylinders. Anyway, and yeah, so his wings will also at the moment be these kind of crumpled up looking bands of white and red and grey. And over the next like hour while he'll be talking to you, I'll be working, getting used to whatever's going on, he'll just be sort of buzzing them at a very low kind of hum to try and get them exercised, and over this time they'll start expanding out and out and out, and by the end they will be... So he will now be standing at about 5 foot in height, and he's this very long, slender, looks semi-fragile, chitinous body with the fluff, and his wings will be also about 5 foot in length, and they will be these huge round-ended eye spot wings. Again, the eye spots will be white and charcoal and rust red in their looks, and they're just bands and bands of all these patterns, which remind you of going through the drift with the auroras and the bands and the star patterns that will be similar to the patterns on his wings. Guys, yeah.
Of course we're here, Calyx. Where else would we be?
I don't know. I don't even know how long it's been.
17 days.
TJ's been keeping track.
Obsessively. Look at you.
I've got 4 arms.
Magnificent.
Grown up boy.
Happy rebirthday.
This is Pez.
They've met. They built this together.
I remember.
I'm losing track.
Kaz has had a lot going on in 17 days.
You'll have to tell me everything.
Oh, we've
that's
got so much to
happened.
tell you, Calyx.
I admit I've enjoyed my time in the garden. Everyone here, there's so many now, so many children I have. It's been amazing, but also I have thought of you guys often and wondered, I'm sorry I left you for so long.
No need to apologise.
Do not need to apologise for that.
Right. Yes. How has everything been?
It's been a roller coaster ride.
There's been some ups, some downs. Roos is a parent now.
Yes.
Congratulations to you as well.
He's having a kit back on the ship. Lots to fill you with in Calyx.
Yes. It could take some time to go through those things for sure.
You say take some time to go through those things. I think you're coming to terms and you're like, okay, yeah, let's get to that. But then the first cocoon starts to hatch. And for you, and you alone, a singular butterfly escapes that first crack. The rest of you don't see it. But you do. Comprised completely of starlight. And I think there is this moment where you see it bleats and flutter past your friends, but it leaves out the front door. You turn back to the room, and a second one starts to crack open, and another butterfly starts to leave. These aren't the Decimar, but you have a strong mystical connection that you are there to help. And maybe over the course of the next hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, you begin to help the rest of the Decimar out of their pods. And you're trying to snatch words with your friends where you can, then another one, and then another one. Every time you're seeing these butterflies, until there is a room filled with, I think it was around 40 decimal.
It's a few.
40.
In one room. And they all look like you. They don't look like Calyx. Calyx is this bright colours, this white grey fur, this banding, this amazing artistry to their whole entire being. The others all look similar to each other with this darkened fur and this. They have these like very colourful wings. They all like greens, reds, and blues. And for anybody who hasn't seen the Desmar in the Alien Archive, they do look very similar to that. But Calyx is on a whole other level. And
Jesus.
Not Jesus.
Lisas.
Jesus.
yeah, for the rest of you there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But Calyx is Alien Archive podcast listeners. Page 15 or type in decimal into Google and look for the instars and Amargos, the instar being the larval form, the Amargos being the adults.
Sorry, I went off on one to be like a silk moth.
No, and I think that's amazing. But
Yeah, I think as I see the... Sorry.
no, this is where I'm handing over to you, because I think in one of these moments, the butterflies are around your friends, your crew, and then they take flight and move back to the decimal.
And I probably have realised at this point that no one else can see them and reacting. And I say like a small thank you to Desna that they've all come through, that they've been saved. And I think after like trying to help some of the last ones, like encouraging them to get through, making sure everyone has some nectar tea to try and get their strength back, I'll come over back to you guys. I think the tapestry of life has so many threads and we don't always see the pattern. And my thread has been with you guys, but I don't believe it is to be with you anymore. And I thank you for your time, and who knows, our threads may come back together again. We may see each other again, but for now I have a different calling and a different path. I have broken the Decimar in a way that is irreparable, and I must take action, or responsibility for my actions. I have brought them forwards, Koshoria, and I have woken these ones up from a dreamless sleep that maybe they should not be awoken from, but I could not leave them either. They will learn of the horrors of how they are and how they have come to be, and this world is not always kind and it is not always pleasant, but I will protect them and I will look after them, and I have to take responsibility for them now. And I'm sorry, but my path calls me that way, and I wish all of you the best and the greatest. I am sorry to leave you, I truly am. I wish I could have seen the end with you, but for now, I have my children to look after and to lead, and they must come first. And I will hand each of you a little silk ball. This is the last silk I will ever make, so look after it. But if you are ever lost or your souls are lost in the darkness, the thread should lead you back home, no matter where you are. They are connected to the grand web and the great silk tapestry in life, so you won't be lost out there. And I'd request just a hair from you two, TJ and Kaz. So if you ever need me, I'll be able to find you guys as well.
TJ's going to bring out from his breast pocket a little Ziploc bag of his shavings from his mustache.
No.
Now, this isn't as weird as it looks, okay? I had a feeling this was where this was going to take you, my boy. We will always, always have a place for you on our crew. Calyx, you are my first friend and my companion, and we will miss you so greatly. But God, look at what you've done. Look at what you are achieving here. And forgive a younger Stokey for getting all emotional, but...
Just hug her.
You're my boy. You... Get out of the way, Pez.
Pez just reaches his hand up.
You were always destined for such great things. Your path will always shine bright, and we will never lose you because of it.
Thank you, TJ.
Get him.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. I just looking at TJ's face, and I was just like, the master shoots you.
Thank you. I'm trying something new.
You are a great and amazing captain, and I know you'll lead everyone to their best. You're an inspiration and the best, honestly, and thank you for being there. Always.
At this point, Ren... Look, I took the liberty to call in an old favour with a friend of mine. I don't know if you're planning to go back to Kashoya or if you're looking to stay a bit more local, but for the time being, this here is Ran. And they turn around, and coming through the door is a Goran. A Goran is like a plant-like person. They are like made of vines and moss and of this amazing just construction of a being, a plant being, this humanoid. They are wearing bark-like armor, not unlike the armor that I believe Roos now has.
Yes.
From 4184, and they carrying like a large stave, like staff with this crystal in the top of it, like a hologram going around the outside of it, which has a symbol that I think you would all know is that of the Xenowarns. These are people who protect nature and protect life within the Pact Worlds and go off on many different adventures, and they have like living starships, and they just look to try and save life where possible. You also see that they don a Starfinder badge, and it's covered in a lot of moss and vines, and it's been reclaimed by the nature of this being. Around here has a small nature reserve on Castrovel. It's a jungle we've got here that's a lot like
The elves.
The elves are on their own continent, but the jungles on Castrovel, they're not too far away, especially in the grand scheme of where you're from to here. But Rand's willing to offer you a sanctuary for the time being until you and your people decide what they want to do.
Thank you, and thank you, Ren, for looking after us. I vaguely was aware of your presence this time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I didn't feel like my job was done until we'd finished this transformation of yours. I wouldn't have felt right hearing about it on the grapevine.
Easier post than Kashoria.
Sure, let's go with that. I get bored easily.
Oh,
But
my apologies.
don't be. It's been an interesting few days. I've got to learn a lot. I've got to see a lot of beautiful things from any gestures to the screens where now they're empty. And you see inside the pods, and there are these augmentation devices just left in the bottom of them. Some of them have slime on them. Some of them have other bits of previous creature on them. But
Soup.
yeah,
Oh,
but they are
so chunky.
all gone. Not a single one of them is transferred over.
Oh.
Look, it's the very least I can do, and around here's an old friend, and I just think for the time being, it's better than being on the station. Go show them some fresh air and...
They certainly need to stretch their wings. I'd like to take you up on the offer. Yes, please. And to the rest of the crew, too. Kaz, you look amazing.
Thank you. I've spruced up a little bit.
You don't smell like shit anymore.
You can shut your fucking mouth.
Hygiene kit.
That was GM. Ren saying that. No, it's the accent.
Kaz just punches Ren.
Knock it.
No reason. Ren hasn't said a word to him. Like, what the fuck? I'll fucking give you a fucking kitchen.
Fucking twat.
Fine.
Record it.
Always recording.
But Kaz, thank you for always being there as well. And you look amazing, and I hope you're able to move past your pain. And it sounds like you lot will be moving forwards towards that. And
Imminently, I think.
I left you with the orb for a reason.
Thank you.
I hope it helps you.
I hope so too. There's many things we have yet to learn, but also know about it. But I'll make sure it goes to a good use. But Kelix, it sounds like you've got a lot bigger and better responsibilities on hand, and I think we're the last people you ever need to apologise to. And if you have any issues or problems in the new reserve, send me a message and I'll come help if you need it.
Thank you. And to you, if you ever need me for anything, I will try my best to help you where I can. And Pez, thank you for creating the VR, for helping us. I can never thank you enough for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad it brought you and the other Decimar some peace, knowing that there's light out there at the end, no matter what they've been through, and it gives them something to go towards, even in the darkest time.
Thank you. And Roos, look after them all. I know you will.
Yeah, I'll try that. It's good to see you, kid. Don't get cocky out there. You know what they say.
What do they say?
What do they say, Roos?
Just a dialing tone afterwards.
Oh, he's hung up.
Why he's hung up?
What would be the phrase?
Once a caterpillar, always a butterfly.
They do say that.
They do say that.
I'm gonna miss you, kid.
Miss you too. I'm going to miss all of you.
You say this like, Wiley, no! And then the comm goes dead.
Yeah. This won't be the last time you see us.
Yeah.
This is goodbye, but for now.
For now.
Not forever.
Yeah.
You don't mind. I wouldn't mind if you guys be the first to witness my first flight. I'll be the first Decimar to fly off of Koshoria, so I'd like to do it with friends, if that's all right, and
Of course.
don't laugh if I fall down.
Never.
Trust me, I know all about that.
Camera comes out.
I think Kaz says, trust me, I think I know all about that.
Yeah, I did just then.
What?
He...
What's this?
I think
I'll tell
he
you
would
later.
probably say something like, in here is probably not the best to do that.
Yeah.
Thinking about like the halls of flight
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And this although it's like a 40-foot high room, it's not enough. And the freedom of the fields of flight, the place back on Koshoria where people would take their first flights, and you go outside and it's this dingy part of the spike, but at least the level is like 100-foot high. The false lighting in here, the artificial lighting, isn't that of a sun, but something feels brighter. Something feels warmer. And the rest of your clan follow you out. As they're all still like shaking off their wings and getting them exercise. You've had like an extra hour or two. I mean, what's it look like?
So, I think he's just staring up and up into the heart of Absalom Station. Possibly to where the stone is. I'm trying to... It's pretty much in the top centre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though we can't see it. And he's shaken off, and he's so fluffy now. Like, his ruff is so fluffy. And he's just staring up and up. And he's doing a few little bounces, just getting his, like, knees going. And he just does a few little hops up, and just getting his wings going. And then you just, from going from flapping, they go to the point of just buzzing, or you can barely see them, they're just buzzing so fast. And he hops, and then there's a hop, but he just doesn't come down. And he's just buzzing, and it's a little bit shaky, like it's going a little bit to the side and left and right. But in his eyes, he can see the butterflies, and they're flying up, and he's following them, and his eyes are just continuing up. And he goes up and up, maybe about 20 foot, and then looks down at all his friends. And
when Calyx looks down, their eyes are pure starlight.
And he just feels this moment of just pure Desna, for lack of a, like, this sort of revenance and resonance, and almost all the threads of all his friends and all the life and all the beings and the connections and everything he can see just for that moment. And then it fades and he comes back down, and if a butterfly could smell, he'd be elated.
The thing that you all notice when Calyx comes back down, their eyes dull, but the star field doesn't disappear. Nebulas move in those eyes. It's almost like you can see that same butterfly window that you saw back in the temple on Kashoria through Calyx's carapaced eyes, those segmented bug-like eyes. None of the other Decimor have this. And there is just that feeling inside you. We're going to end the podcast on YouTube there. As we say goodbye to
Oh, mega leak.
My boy.
Thank you so much. Stick around if you're on Twitch for that Drift Debrief, or if you're on YouTube or podcast, sign up to YouTube members, and we'll do a little talk about this afterwards. For now, you fucking get one of those. 100%. Fucking right you do. You Tim Tim.
Oh.
Like, when you did the thing, I was like, oh! I looked at Jack. Looking like the guys are like, hold it in! Not crying for a third time this week at TTRPG. You fucking nearly got me, you bitch. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. May the dice gods be ever in your favour.
See you.
Bye.